Hey everybody, this is AJ from the Tokusatsu Podcastu with a little announcement. If you haven't been on my Twitter or in the Discord server and you want to know what this announcement's all about, well, starting July 1st to July the 4th, we're going to be attending Anime Expo 2022 all day, every day of those 4 days. My goodness, I know, right? So yes, we're going to be there all those days. I don't know if we're going to be a part of any panel. You'll just have to wait and see. Ooh, isn't that fancy? Isn't that a fancy thing to say? But yes, we're going to be there all day for all 4 days. Come on down, say hi, take a picture, tell us why we're wrong, even though you're wrong. Whatever. We're going to be there pretty much all day. And, yeah. So, hope to see you guys there. And, on with the show. Bye.
The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Tokusatsu Podcast, the best show about Tokusatsu you probably never heard of. That's Jay!
You guys remember that time the Punisher murdered his family?
Which time?
The third time.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
He did it all with balloon animals. It was kind of epic.
Yeah, I know. That was one of his weird. That was one of his weirder frankings.
I know, right? And then like Sonic and Archie came in too. It was fucking wild. That's Chad.
Actually, my real name isn't Chad. It's actually Tomoya, and I've actually been using the name Chad to mainly just get out of paying taxes.
Nah, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Works for me.
It's good enough reason.
Indeed. I mean, that's what a ninja does, right? Helps you get out of taxes?
Yes.
Cool.
It's true.
That's Phil.
Alright.
Oh, okay. All right. That is that it, Phil?
I got nothing.
When do you have something? Anyways, so this week we come back after a little bit of a break with Kamen Rider Agito. Fucking hell. I had to binge watch the one show where I had to pay attention half awake. So Jay, tell us about Kamen Rider Agito.
Well, Kamen Rider Agito is yet another fever dream brought to us by the madman Toshiki Inoue.
Damn right.
It's admittedly a little hard to summarize because there's a bunch of kind of different plot lines going on all at once. So
God is really mad.
Basically, the short version is that God is really pissed that mutants exist, and he's taking it out on everybody.
Fucking muties.
Listen, around muties, something. So, our three main plot lines revolve around Shoichi Sugami, an amnesiac housewife, male, who just kind of bumbles around with a family of people who took him in, while he kind of sort of looks to get his amnesia cured, but also he's just kind of dicking around doing housework and getting into shenanigans. We have Makoto Hikawa, a cop, part of the Special Anti-Unidentified Life Forms Unit, who runs around dealing with primarily the main plots of the episode, dealing with the Monster of the Week type stuff, as mysterious monsters arrive and start killing people under mysterious circumstances, and it's his job to figure out what the fuck is going on and stop the monsters. And then we have Ryo, whatever his last name was again. The world's...
Ashihara.
That's right.
Ashihara.
Thank you. That's right. They do say that. Ryo Ashihara. The world's...
They say it 60 fucking times. How do you forget?
Listen.
They say it once an episode.
Pretty much.
Because he's a very... Listen, nothing happens with him for most of the show.
He just suffers, but we'll get
anyways, Ryo Ashihara, the world's unluckiest man, and the continuing downward spiral that is his life.
Are we talking about the character or the actor?
Yes.
Ryo Ashihara, who also moonlights as a wife beater.
But enough about his character. Let's talk about the actor.
And also, we have Hikawa, the best.
I already talked about Hikawa.
You mean
Did
Hojou?
I didn't hear you.
Who cares about Hojou?
Who fucking cares about
Hojou's
him?
a hoe.
Well, he's in almost every episode. He does have some precedence on the plot.
Yeah, and he a bitch.
Yeah, but he's a secondary character. We're not talking about him. Anyways, how all three of these plot lines relate? Well, that's up for you to figure out, because Inoue kind of doesn't bother half the time. So yeah,
Inoue made this show because he wants you to figure it out for him.
He also wanted to he also wanted to make a sequel somewhat to Kuuga.
No, he actually did not.
That is wrong, actually.
Okay, Toei wanted to.
So let me explain this, because I'm the Kuuga guy and you guys suck. Anyways, so let me explain this. So technically, yes, for the first 4 episodes or so,
3 or 4,
this was going to be a sequel to Kuuga, but halfway in, they were like, "Let's not." The kayfabe answer given to us by our lovely friend Shirakura was, well, if we make this a sequel to Kuuga, and the monsters were just going to be Gorongi again, or a descendant or mixture of Gorongi, that would kind of make Kuga's ending fucking pointless. In fact, it would kind of make the entirety of what Godai went through fucking pointless. So, no? Which is really weird, because even towards the end, there's still some hints that this was supposed to be a Kuuga sequel. So,
Well,
I don't know.
On one hand, it was also his idea to make it a Kuuga sequel, so I think he's just kind of talking out of his ass to try and cover himself.
Yes, he is, definitely.
Personally, I think it was just, again, yeah, I think he's kind of on the right track of, they kind of thought this was a dumb as fuck idea to make it a direct sequel, and Inoue, as we all know, doesn't like playing with other people's toys, so he was probably like, alright, I'll fucking throw this stuff in here enough to establish it, and then get the fuck off my case. We're gonna go from here.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
think they kind of caught the drift of it by that point, where it's like, yeah, you know what, let's not do that.
Yeah. I think, honestly, it probably boiled down to they weren't able to get Joe Odagiri back to return as Kuuga, so that kind of like, alright, well, we're just not going to even continue trying. I would assume that was probably when Toei gave up, is that they weren't actually able to get Kuuga back. So
that makes sense to me.
There's no, obviously there's no confirmation on that, but I would assume that because they couldn't actually bring him back to cement the crossover between the two, I think they were like, alright, well, we'll just let Inoue do what he wants then and just make it its own thing.
But even if they had brought him back...
I'm going to say this is a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a case of they just didn't want to do it, but less out of... Honestly, I think Inoue's problem is more like, again, he doesn't like playing with other people's characters, as we've noticed whenever he decides to do guest writing on a show, so I think
he just wants to fuck with them.
He probably didn't want to touch Kuuga just in general, but I think it was also just Toei kind of gave up on the idea. But we'll never really know that. We only have Shirakura's word, and considering it was Shirakura's idea to begin with, he's not exactly the most reliable source.
Hopefully one day we can ask him and be like, what the fuck were you thinking?
And then
he'll tell us I wasn't.
He's going to tell us money, obviously.
Yeah, but
well, yes.
But again, even as even so, if they had brought Joe Odagiri back, it would have made. I mean, I haven't watched Kuuga, but it would have made his. But like you said, it would have made the ending pointless if all he did was for nothing.
Yes, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Again, this was going to be a sequel to Kuuga. The manga still kind of kept that idea, even though I haven't read the manga, so I don't know if they also dropped it there as well, or if they actually left it there.
The manga goes in so many different fucking tangents that it might as well not even be brought up.
Okay, because again, the manga's not canon anyways, but I know that they still kept way more elements of the sequel idea in it. So if you want to know more about that, I guess check out the manga. As for the shows, it doesn't exist anymore. They don't care. None of this matters. it's Agito time.
Yeah.
So, starting off with that, let's talk about Agito himself, our lovable amnesiac housewife, Shoichi.
Well, actually, his name
why
is
I
Tetsuya.
really like this. I don't give two shits. You
Get
sit
it
the fuck
right.
down.
Spoilers.
The chick at the beginning already said spoilers, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
Also,
but
this show is
still.
21 years old.
Yeah.
It's allowed to drink now.
Pretty much.
Well, first off, here's the thing. Let's also keep in mind that, first off, yes, that is a spoiler. However, how many people actually watched Agito? How many people are actually going
Good
to
point.
go back and watch Agito after this recording? How many of them just
Also,
didn't...
good point.
How many of them also just watched the Geo episode and figured out, oh yeah, his real name isn't actually Tsugami Shoichi, it's actually Tetsuya Sawaki. I mean, come on, guys. Are we really gonna have to worry about that now? Ha 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 ha.
Oh, that's what. Oh, thank you, Chad.
Anyways, so yes, I really liked him. He's not even like the most intense, deep character we've ever had in Rider. I just like him. He's just a nice guy. He's a doofus, and he's cool. I want to buy him a beer, but then he would probably tell me he doesn't drink beer and drink a water instead. I don't know.
He's a cinnamon roll.
I like him.
He is a lovable cinnamon roll that just... I do not see how anyone can hate this guy.
He really is lovable.
He has a very magnetic personality, and both within the show itself and just kind of overall. He has
definitely.
this natural aura of just wholehearted fun and happiness around him all the time. Even when he's like dealing with kind of depressing things or he's in stressful or intense situations, he's still got that kind of overall hopeful and optimistic vibe to him. And the show the show really carries that too, because there's a recurring running joke where he just kind of gets people involved in his shenanigans. Like he'll just be doing something bizarre, and somebody else will walk in and just kind of join in. They'll just go along with it for a while. Like there's obviously it's mostly with Hikawa, who just kind of starts doing whatever the hell Shoichi says most of the time. Like, oh hey Hikawa, I'm building a bed. You want to help? And Hikawa, despite being a busy police officer, is just like, all right, sure, why not? And they're there building a bed, and they goes through the entire sequence of building a fucking bed and bringing it inside. Or there's the one.
Or I mean the one with the fucking fish. That was pretty funny.
I was just
too.
about to say that where he just goes into a fish market and he starts sticking his fucking pinky into the mouths of the fish to feel around.
People, it makes
because
sense.
I guess that's how you tell a fish is good or not.
Don't question
And
the
Hikawa
method.
just
Never.
he just starts doing it with him for no reason at all. And he's there for like a solid minute and a half doing it with Shoichi, and he's just like, wait, I don't have time for this. What am I doing?
Literally.
or another one of my favorites. Shoichi basically goads him into doing stuff with him because he's like, you're not gonna do that?
Yeah,
but I'm gonna die.
Yeah, he was actually like
How
a master
could you not want to
guilt
help?
tripping. Shoichi's just a master
He
of
was
guilt
so
tripping.
fucking good. It's like, he's like, damn, you're not even gonna help me take the weeds out, and I'm gonna die. Fuck, bro, that's harsh.
Sounds
I
like every
fucking
man's mother.
Love him.
Well, yeah, that's
I
why he's a
fucking
housewife.
Love him.
11 out of 10 best
And
waifu.
And again, it's weird because like he's not deep. He's not like this like tortured fucking soul or whatever. He's just cool. He's just a nice guy, and I like everything about him. He's consistent. He is super consistent. And
Yeah.
Inoue really did a good job just keeping him likable throughout the entire show. Like Jay said, through his ups and downs, he is just likable. And you hope that he gets out of it okay.
He's honestly that one friend that like you really need to have in your life, where it's like if you're depressed, he's gonna make you feel better about yourself.
He's a cool bro. He's a cool bro.
He's a cool guy who has chill days.
Yes.
Indeed.
And he makes a lot of stuff with cabbage.
Too many things
A
with
lot of
cabbage.
stuff.
You know what? I just appreciate
Cabbage
his
is
puns, honestly. At the end of the day, he's just
Oh, his puns are great.
he's just wonderful. And like honestly, like when they're asking like the police are asking him, it's like, what does a normal day look like with Kuuga, or like as Agito? And it's just, it is just him literally saying, it's like, I wake up and I just go out and pick my vegetables. What about you guys?
I brush my teeth, I pick my vegetables,
I
go
do the
shopping.
dishes, and then I get ready for cooking dinner, and then I help Mama with her homework, and like all this. He's just listing off his normal activities, and I love it. That's what I love about him, is that like he's just kind of some guy outside of the hero stuff.
He really is just some dude.
Dude's just living his...
Like, that's it. He's some guy.
Dude's just trying to live his best life as best he can, and I appreciate it.
What I can say, though, what I will say, I do like the idea that they implemented where even when he gets his memories back, he is still the same guy. He's nothing different. It's just always him. The only thing is he just doesn't remember who he is. I kind of like that idea because, I don't know, there's some times where they do the amnesia plots where they change it to someone completely different, where it's just like, you're kind of only doing that to make me want the old one back. That's really all that's all you're doing it for. But I like the way they do it here. It's him either no matter what. He just knows his name.
I would agree that that's kind of one of the bigger traps of the amnesia plot, is that they always do that just as an excuse to be like, oh, see, it was actually a good thing they didn't have their memories. But like, I mean, it's not necessarily like bad to do that. It's just it's never executed right. And
it always feels forced.
And another thing I do like, because even though I harp all the time about fucking amnesia plots because they suck, they're always bad, Agito does it right because it barely focuses on the amnesia plot. Like, it's just kind of there in the background. Shoichi isn't even really actively trying to get his memories back. If in fact, if it's anything, it's other characters who are actively trying to solve his personal problem, while he's just kind of doing his own thing. Like
I mean, shit, at a certain point, they basically say, like, don't you care if you get your memories back? He's like, not really.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit.
And I like that, too, because there's a little bit of, like, he's a little afraid of it, too. I like that he doesn't, like, he's not just completely apathetic about it. He's like, there's more of just, like, I'm happier without them because my life is just going to be the same either way. And I kind of like that. And I kind of like that they don't make it like a big tortured soul moment, but I do also like that he does have a reason that he doesn't care. It's not just, I don't care because that's what the show needs.
It's very good. And again, they do it in a way where it doesn't just make you want to roll your fucking eyes at it, like, oh, here we go. But on that amnesia plot, as like Jay said, they do it pretty well in this, where they don't have to force it to be the main goal. Honestly, the best one to bring up would be Build, where the main goal was the amnesia bullshit for most of the show. It's night and day here, where it's just like, well, it's there. The only real stumbling block of that amnesia plot is that they give him his memories, and then they take him away, and then they give him back again.
Dude, I've said it before. The first time I went through Agito, that arc made me so mad. I legitimately stopped watching the show for like a month straight. I was so fucking pissed off that they did that.
It was so needless.
They give him his fucking memories back. We learn absolutely jack shit that is important, and then he loses his memories again, making the entire thing a waste of goddamn time.
Actually, they do that twice in the series.
Yeah, they did do that twice, didn't they?
Did they?
I believe
they
did.
The first time was where I think it was after he started getting the dreams about his sister, and then he gets beaten the crap out of, and he gains Trinity form, and then he loses his memory again, and then later on when he becomes the chef, you're not supposed to know about Trinity. I had to do it at least once. No, I don't think he gets his memories back when he's gets the job as a chef. I think,
or it's like, oh no, because like it's the first times when he gets his butt beaten, then that's when he remembers, like, oh yeah, like I actually did go to like culinary school. That person in my dreams is my sister. And then like amnesia happens again, and then there's another instance where it's like, okay, well I gotta talk to this guy, and then we actually find out it's the real Shoichi Sugami.
Well, yeah, but no, that's the same arc.
Wait, is
he
it
gets
though?
his memories back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yes,
gets his
it
memories
is.
back. Has the dream talks with Mana about his sister, and then he goes to meet Gowser, and that's when he loses his memory again.
Ah.
That's one arc. That's what I think is, because I do remember it, because I remembered that only being like a 1-episode thing, but it is a little longer than I remember. So that also did throw me off too, going back to rewatch it. But no, that was all one solid arc.
Yeah, again, it's weird because honestly, watching through the episodes, I didn't even remember when he got his memories back the second fucking time. I didn't remember that it happened. It just felt like it just sort of appeared.
Yeah, because like I think the interesting part about the storytelling here, it's like there is no build up or really any difference. The fact it's like you have to be paying attention to the dialogue more or less. And like I think there's
not necessarily, because the episode where he does get it back was the flashback episode where we see what happened on the ferry.
Well,
so that's like, that one's a little more obvious when it's like, okay, this is going to be the permanent time. But at the same time, yeah, again, like there's no real difference with how he acts or how he's responding to anything when he gets his memories back.
Like literally, if you skip that episode, you'd just be like, wait, what's his fucking name now?
Yeah. Because that's the thing, is that they keep still calling him Shoichi, and he's just like, guys, come on, please call me my real name. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, don't dead name Agito.
And finally he just says, fuck it.
I was like, okay, well,
What's in the name, anyways?
yeah.
I mean, it's fine. The real Shoichi's dead anyways, so.
Well, now he
Well,
is.
yeah, because identity theft. But anyways.
That's
Well,
fine.
actually, no. He's dead twice.
Oh yeah, that is true. He's dead twice.
He's double dead. So
Super
it's fine.
Yeah.
At that point, you fully forfeit. If you die twice, you fully forfeit your
Well, yeah,
identity.
die
Pretty
twice. You
much.
can't get brought back by the Dragon Balls in this case. Oopsie.
That's true.
Exactly. Well, no. Goku did it 3 times.
Unless you
Okay,
go to Namek, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, that's true. You guys have a very good point. But anyways, like,
I mean, nobody wants to go to Namek.
yeah,
so.
no one wants
Yeah,
to.
no, fuck Namek.
But anyways, like,
We only have 5 minutes before it explodes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Anyways.
Yeah, like I think
So-
the thing that I really enjoyed here also was honestly like the mystery aspects, because like we talked about like the mystery aspects of like Rider series before, like say for example like Drive and whatnot, like that they made super obvious, but like with this with Agito for example, it's like no one talks about the Akatsuki, and just like every episode is just like, okay, what the fuck actually happened there? And like I think if anything, like I think that I don't know, it's just it was done well, I think.
I like it. I do like the mystery aspect of it, yes, because it's very much a piecemeal thing where they'll drop a hint here and there, and it'll point you in the right direction just enough to where you're curious, but not enough to where you can kind of guess where it's going. I like that.
It left you asking questions and wanting to see more and more how far down the rabbit hole this mystery actually goes, and when I'm gonna say this now. What I think really peaks it is when you get to the L of Water, and it's actually an enemy that even Shoichi is afraid of and is trembling at. Then you want to know what the fuck actually happened on that boat.
Another good thing about it is watching it again, because this is my 4th time watching it. Watching it again, I already knew what happened, but the story is still told in a way where even if you know the mystery, it's still really well written enough to where you're just going along for the ride, and you kind of like catching certain clues that Inoue puts in at the beginning, telling you, hey, this is what happened. And I really fucking like that. Like, it's just really cool.
Like, it just always gets better on like a second viewing, I'd say, right?
Yes, it really does. It's not like Gravity Falls where it sucks after the first time.
Ooh. Oh, don't even get me started.
Suck on that, Twitter.
I think I think why it's so effective in that regard is that there's no real reason for anybody to explain why it happened. Because everybody who's still alive that was on board the Akatsuki, well, they were all there, so they have no reason to tell each other because they already know what happened, and they have a good reason why not to tell anybody else, because for starters they would sound completely fucking bonkers. But also there's that whole thing about like with Kino later and the rest of the group where like they're starting to become more than human, and so obviously there's that inherent untrustworthiness they have with everybody else. So like, yeah, sure, they're not gonna fucking start telling everybody, oh yeah, by the way, we're getting fucking superpowers because God is an asshole. You know, they're not gonna start sharing that story with people they don't trust or people who aren't like them. So they have a reason to keep it a secret. And
not only that, but a big scary water whale monster told us if he told anybody, he would chop our dicks off.
That's true.
Pretty much.
That's what happened.
he very bluntly said if we tell anybody, he's going to kill us. So might want to keep that under wraps. Buddy.
But then again, they still were getting killed anyway.
Well, that's because
we'll
of their own
reason
dumbass faults. So
this is also.
Well, I mean,
true.
it's just like at the end of the day, they have powers, and it's just like, you know what? It's best if no one has powers, so that way, you know. So you know what?
Look, Magneto is wrong. Anyways,
yeah.
So let's move on from Soichi because I think we said enough about him. So we can move on to the secondary writer of this show, Hikawa. I fucking love this guy.
Best boy ever.
He is. Oh my god, I love this guy. And now he's doing ramen commercials. He's doubled up. He's just so good. He's so fucking good. Holy shit.
He is such a dipshit, and he's such a lovable moron the entire show.
He's so fucking good.
He is the biggest idiot on the planet, and that is what makes him so enjoyable. He's just like the personification of goodness and everything that's pure. And that's also because he's a complete moron. I love it. He's such an enjoyable character. There's the entire cast that surrounds him, the other cops, and there's the rest of the G3 unit, and of course there's everybody's favorite douchebag Hojou, where they all do just kind of feel, for the most part, you know, they have very solid characters. Like again, Hikawa, he's just kind of here to be good. He's a good guy. He's a good person, and he got selected to be
the G3,
the G3, the superpower armor rider, for various reasons. And he throws himself into it with gusto. He never there are moments where he feels like he's unworthy of it, but it's never like whinging or anything. It's just like, ah, shit, I'm fucking dying of heat exhaustion. I do not know what the fuck to formulate my thoughts.
He's throwing himself in there, and you never feel like he's beating himself up for it. You just think that, well, you think he's playing himself down, basically. He's not giving himself enough credit half the time.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like. Half the time when he's like on his down in the dumps, it's because he himself is not giving himself enough credit. Like, even Ozawa says a couple times, like, dude, you're good enough. You're legitimately good enough. I don't see what the problem is. And he's like, well, I don't feel like I am. It's cool because he's not just being an angsty fuck. You can just tell, like, he has this idea of what G3 should be, and he doesn't think that he is that ideal person, basically.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. It's very, with great power comes great responsibility kind of thing, where he doesn't feel like he's worthy of the mantle, even though he is the most worthy person on the planet, and he's self-deprecating about it without being whiny or angsty. So, I think that's what makes him work as a character, is that he has that very natural pathos to him without being brooding or whiny or obnoxious about it. And that also helps him throw himself into the overall plots, the Monster of the Week stuff, where he's the one who's kind of solving the Monster of the Week plots, where he'll get himself involved in the case of the week, where one of the monsters has killed somebody in some bizarre manner, and he has to figure out the trick behind it, because they're all doing weird serial killer shit, where they all have unique ways of killing people that are all impossible to do by normal humans. Like, they're getting thrown off, like, spontaneous combustion, or they're getting shoved inside objects that, like, they're basically getting telefragged by stuff, or spontaneous lightning, or just, completely random shit
shoved into a fucking tree.
Yeah.
Drowned in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, like drowning in the desert, stuff like that. And
honestly, the lamest one of those was just the one that just crashed into you, and that's it.
Yeah, that was underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, points for originality for most of them, but some of them they did get a little lazy. But I guess you can't win them all. And I enjoy that it's like that he's the one who's kind of doing like the actual hero detective stuff. It's very it helps with the mystery angle where everybody kind of has their own mystery going on. Shoichi, of course, has the mystery with his past and his memories. Hikawa's dealing with the mysteries with the unknown and their murders, and Ryo's doing whatever the fuck Ryo is doing.
Wondering why God hates him.
Yeah. Why God hates him specifically.
Just fuck you specifically.
Yeah, so, and I like that too. I like that angle of having the secondary writer be the driving force for the plots. I like, again...
It reminds me a lot of Laser from X-Aid.
Yeah. Except he doesn't, fucking kick the bucket super early
and then come back.
And then come back for no good reason. Honestly, out of everybody in the show, he's the only one who doesn't fucking die.
I know, right? He's okay. It's because even Inoue knows not to fuck with it.
Yeah, he's just an ordinary guy in unordinary circumstances, and that's what I enjoy. And I like the mystery stuff with him, where he's kind of piecing together the weird supernatural bullshit that's going on, and he's kind of like a skeptic. He's a little bit of Scully. He's a little bit of Mulder, where he's like, well, okay, I'm obviously seeing shit that's impossible, and even though I don't believe it, I kind of have to keep going and believe that this is possible. And I like that, and that leads to a natural progression of him meeting Shoichi, where, of course, he just kind of coincidentally is crashing with a doctor who deals with supernatural phenomenon, and that kind of leads to him getting involved with Shoichi in the plot, which is natural there. And I kind of like his character, where he's optimistic, he's stupid, but he's not stupid. You know what I mean? He's a goof, he's a screw up, but he's not like a moron. He's still able to solve these mysteries. He doesn't need to be told what to do.
He's competent.
But he's just kind of clumsy. He's a little bit of a klutz, but he's competent still. Yes.
It's that thing where it's like you wouldn't be G3 if you were a shitty cop.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here if you were bad at your job.
Despite some people.
Just compared to everybody else, you're just compared to the two that were literally touched by God, you're kind of a klutz. But that's a very high bar to fucking go against.
It's weird when you say that, because you look at the two that are touched by gods, he's kind of like a almost pseudo demigod to a Greek hero in that comparison. Well, okay, so
a little bit.
So like touched by a god, they're not, which is meaning Agito and Gills. They're technically not full-on gods. They would be demigods. But when you say G3, especially when he gets to the point of G3X, he has basically the same amount of power as those two to fight against these creatures made by a god himself. He literally is on par with them, but he has not been touched by the god. So he's up there with a hero similar to the ones in Greek mythology, able to do great things, but is still immortal.
And he still gets jobbed out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's my favorite kind of jobber.
Like, I think if anything... Sorry.
No, you go ahead, yeah.
Also had something stuck in my throat. But anyways, like, I think the interesting part about G3 is, like, outside of his clumsiness, like, I think it's more or less the clumsiness is only there to be a character flaw in the sense of, because if we didn't have this, he'd be a little too perfect. So it's like, overall, like, I appreciate how they used, Hikawa as basically, like you said, the perfect jobber, or like a really enjoyable one.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the only negative trait about Hikawa, is that he is immediately cast as the designated jobber of the crew, and it's kind of unfortunate. Like, even from episode 1, he only exists to get his shit kicked in by the monsters to buy time for Agito to show up.
Yeah.
Even when he gets his power up for him, when he gets G3X, he still is kind of the jobber, I mean, he does at least win a couple fights after that point, but he's still basically just there to get his ass kicked to buy time, which is a little disappointing overall. But I think it's fine, and it's a natural way to show that that's just how strong the Unknown are, where you have this super duper monster buster power armor that is completely useless against them.
I also like it as kind of like a representation of, well, it's Hikawa. Like, the G3 armor is a representation of himself. He's not as strong as the other two, but he's gonna keep fucking going.
He's got determination.
Mm-hmm.
You got spunk, kid. You got spunk.
I like
real
it.
moxie.
So I love Hikawa. He's great, and he also photoshops himself into a lot of shit for some reason, but that's just that way he is.
Yeah.
You know what? It is kind of
photoshopped his face onto a fucking slide. That was weird.
Yes. I mean, look. At least, if nothing else, he is the most successful of the three writers in this show. Because for no reason, I decided to look up his actor. He's gotten consistent work in fucking anything that'll pay him.
Besides that, dude's also dude's a YouTuber now, so.
He is also a YouTuber.
Oh, I gotta look.
A lot of Toku actors are becoming YouTubers.
That is true. Yeah,
It makes
I
money.
was like, oh no, recently during COVID, apparently the G3 squad and also Hojou's actor all actually had an online reunion.
Oh, that's cool.
And then,
Nice.
and then like another one, they actually had him with Inoue and I believe the main director, I'm forgetting the director's name though, of Agito, and just like, all in all, I was like, oh no. It's nice to see like the G3 squad and like the cast still get together like on good terms. Or I mean,
Yeah,
for the
it's
majority
always
of
nice
it,
to
it's
see.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Like I said, Hikawa is just great. So now we talk about the guy that God hates.
Oh, God's punching bag.
Fucking Kamen Rider Gills, Ryo Asahara. Good fucking God, what did they do to you, boy?
They basically made a character who had potential at the start with like being a swimmer and all that stuff, and then he has to give it all up, and he goes through so much pain to the point of being a raving animal.
This poor bastard just can't catch a fucking
He really
break.
can't.
Friendly neighborhood suffering, man.
You know what's worse, Jay? So you know how we always make fun of the fact that the Gill suit is just, I mean, it's basically non-existent at this point. That started happening during the show. I don't know if you noticed this, but the original Gill suit that they were using in the show, during the airing of this show, already started looking like it was going to tatters.
That
The
is
actual suit already looked like it was going to shit.
It's not the first time, and it was not the last time it happened, but it's not the most noticeable, but yeah, unfortunately, that's just kind of an issue of the material they use, where once you get that padded rubber beat up enough, it's gonna just start kind of falling apart.
Oh, dude, it looked bad.
Yeah,
like
especially with all
towards
the
end.
water
The
and everything
green
it's getting
didn't-
soaked into.
The green in the helmet
Towards
didn't
the
match
end.
up with the green of the armor.
Well,
the-
that's just
towards-
a
yeah,
difference
but, like,
material.
I'd say-
That's
Towards
natural.
the end, you could really notice in the legs, especially. It's like, oh man, those are some really bad cracks. Oh no!
Like, I
Why
think
do
the
you
thing
think
that also
You can't
doesn't
even
help,
fucking fix them up here.
Because like I think the thing that also doesn't help with the suit as well is that it's like the thing that you notice is that it's kind of different than the normal, I guess, like than the normal rider suit. I mean, first off, the fact that it's getting drowned almost every other day doesn't help.
Yeah.
But second, it's just like, if anything, it's more built similarly to like that of a kaijin suit or like a monster suit, like a monster of the day suit. But it's like those usually aren't supposed. Those usually either one need a lot of care and uptake, or two you're gonna need to have a lot of them on hand. And clearly, I guess they had a lot on hand considering how many times it got drowned and beaten up. Good God.
The suit got abused really
Oh, yeah.
badly.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think they gave him
Gil
an upgrade?
shit.
Even the upgrade started looking a little funky, but we'll get to. But let's talk about
Yeah.
Ryo himself.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing about the suit is that I do like that they went with a more organic look for Gills to kind of coincide with G3's more mechanical and the more kind of mystical, more superhero-y-esque look for Agito. But unfortunately, that kind of harmed it in the long run, as we have just discussed and as we know many times over the years.
Seriously, go look up Kamen Rider Gill's suit in like 2020 or 2022 and just cry.
Or no,
I mean, I know they made a new one recently.
Yeah, or like not even 2022. Go back to like 2009, 2010. Like, I know there are like Japanese blog posts somewhere out in the interwebs that'll basically show you like, it's just in someone's closet just deteriorating.
It's really sad, actually. But yes, about Ryo Asahara. What do we talk about him?
He is God's punching bag, and
Ooh, that didn't... Oh my god, it really is falling to tatters. Oh.
He's just kind of a dick, to be entirely honest. It's hard to describe his personality. He's just kind of like a douche most of the time. I mean, granted, he's usually justified in his dickery, but like, you get the stuff where, like, I think he's kind of more gullible rather than Shoichi's naivety or Hikawa's kind of clumsiness, where they all kind of get sucked into things. Ryo's just kind of an idiot. He kind of gets taken advantage of a lot, and he kind of gets used. Does. And the suffering aspect is kind of what helps guide that, is that, like, he'll fucking fall for any dumb lie, and he'll just kind of go along with stuff. Like, there's the shit where there was the chick who was trying to pretend to be Shoichi's girlfriend, and she started throwing herself on him too to get away from the cops, and he's just like, okay, sure. And there's, like, again, his whole hook into the plot, aside from becoming a fucked up mutant, is that his dad killed himself, and his dad just so coincidentally happened to be a passenger on board the Akatsuki, the mysterious ferry that all the other mutants in the show happen to be on. So his hook into the plot is trying to figure out why my dad killed himself, and he just kind of gets strung along by everybody else from here on, just kind of drifting aimlessly in and out of the plot here and there. He never really has any good, significant pull on the plot. He's just kind of like a device for the stuff, for events to be pushed by. He's kind of like a walking plot device half of the time.
Yeah, and it's like you said, he's a lot more just, I'll just believe anything you tell me, which at some point is understandable because he just wants to learn about his dad. But then there comes to a point, like, again, like the chick who was pretending to be Shoichi's girlfriend. Like, dude, she's very obviously fucking lying to you. She's very obviously fucking with you. It's like, come on. And I think at a certain point, while yes, the suffering aspect is kind of funny, like, oh my god, how much can they put this guy through? It's like Jay said, half of it's his fault, his fucking fault anyways. He puts himself into situations.
Like,
he doesn't have to be here.
There's the one where he just kind of starts helping a runaway kid for no real reason, and then the kid turned out that he was running away from a fucking funeral for his parents, which was, like, unnecessarily dark in a way, to be entirely honest. But, like, again,
relatable.
He just kind of just has bad things happen to him. Like, he dies like 3 fucking times in this show.
He gets his head cut off.
That's right.
He seriously... Oh man, it's even worse in the movie where he gets his fucking arms blown off with a shotgun. It is intense, legitimately intense when it happens in that movie, because you see it all on screen and you see it fucking splintering off. It's crazy. He is just here to suffer.
Can I?
It really, you know what Rio is? Rio is Inoue's vent character. He's the guy who he vents all of his frustrations on. Because what other point is there to just keep fucking with this guy? They just keep making this guy and his life a living fucking hell. At a certain point, it was almost comedic. It was like, this is hilarious. How much more can this guy suffer?
Well, maybe that was the point of his character, that no matter how many times he got beaten down, he still got up and fought. He still suffered. And can I be honest?
Okay, go on ahead, Phil.
No, I was gonna say, do you think it would have been more poignant that he stayed dead before the final episode? I think he should have stayed dead because he's really designed as a character who cannot have a happy ending.
It's weird because I feel like Inoue, and Jay and I have noticed this a lot with Inoue stuff. He will make a character hurt and suffer so much, and just kind of think if we give him a happy ending, you'll be okay with it. Inoue does that a lot, where he just dumps all his shit on just one person, but if we give him a happy ending, you guys should be fine with it, right?
Yeah,
it was fun to get here.
It was worthwhile the whole time. So, definitely.
Hey, look,
thing.
You know what? We all lose our heads now and then, but he gets a puppy at the end.
We all drown multiple times in the span of several weeks. You know, we get shot at by the cops all the time. We get forcibly entwined into love triangles. We try to get murdered.
Our arms blown off.
We try to get murdered by psycho doctors who have fucking severed arms growing onto their arms, and
that was more of an entire implant, and that is medically that is somewhat medically possible, but also a little impossible.
Listen, fuck you.
This is a tokusatsu show. Are we really gonna think about the possibilities of scientific?
Phil, he's not even taking medicine for that.
Phil, you're talking
Kino
about.
Is just that. He's just that fucking good. Okay,
you're talking about the same show.
He needs to take
No. You're talking about the same show. You're talking about the same show in the same conversation. We're talking about a guy who got his fucking head chopped off and he was just fine.
You know, we're also still talking about Ashihara Ryo anyways. And besides that, you know what? At the end of the day, I feel like Ashihara Ryo in summary could be about, you know what? It was never about the destination. It was all about the journey it took to get here. And we still have no idea if he had a happy ending.
No. My favorite one, right? My favorite thing is I don't know. This was a long ass time ago when I read it, but there's apparently like a quote from Inoue saying like, "Oh yeah, the dog died off screen a couple weeks later."
So that is actually I don't know if it's a mistranslation or a misquote. That is not actually what Inoue said.
Oh really? Okay. Good.
So what he actually said was, and I'm not going to say an exact quote because I don't remember the exact quote, but what he said more was along the lines of, knowing Ryo's luck, the dog probably died the next day. Which is more him making a sick joke about his own fucked up characters that he himself created. But it's generally misconstrued as him genuinely canonically establishing that the dog died. So, no, not technically, but it's also really, really messed up that he made that joke. Which is just classic Inoue.
Yeah. Inoue is great sometimes.
We gotta. If I ever meet him, I'm buying.
Knowing his love, the dog fucking died.
I'm buying him a sake.
He would make you buy one.
Dude, yeah. I don't know, man. Ryo, again, I think as an entire character, Ryo just kind of feels. There's not enough there for me to feel bad about him suffering. There's enough there for me to laugh at it, and I know for a fact that's not what Inoue was going for.
Honestly, I get the feeling that he just kind of didn't know what to do with him. It really feels like he was kind of stuck having a third writer that he didn't really have any use for, so he just kind of threw him into the plot every now and then just to do something with it. When
you know what, I want to piggyback off what Phil said and ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Do you think Inoue planned to kill off Gills, not in the sense of like as a hero, but they planned to kill him off as like, oh, this guy is the cautionary tale of what happens when humans become Agitos. You know what I mean? Like, oh, his power went out of control and he died because of it. Because remember, he looks like a fucked up Agito. Honestly,
well, that's because he is. They do establish that he's
a fucked up Agito.
He is an outlier. He is not normal in the terms of the Agito evolution. He is a failed Agito, essentially, is how they put it.
And that's the thing. Like when you put it that way, something tells me that maybe a plan at the beginning was to show him dying, to show basically the volatile nature of what it can happen if you become an Agito, whether you're perfect or not. Like Shoichi is like the best case scenario, and Ryo is the worst case scenario. I think that would have been interesting if they did it like that, and they killed him off by like maybe before he got his power up form. So who knows? I don't know, but I feel like that's what they were going for.
Possibly, I couldn't say for sure. It would certainly explain, especially in the second half of the show, where his involvement with the plot just vanishes.
Well, yeah, they do that a lot too. He just kind of vanishes for episodes at a time.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame too, because otherwise, he is really good at juggling all of the different plot lines going on. Like, there is in any given episode 3 or 4 different plot lines happening simultaneously that he very effortlessly manages to juggle between. But whenever it comes to Ryo and his plot lines, he always just kind of like, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't know what to do. So I don't necessarily know if he did plan on killing him off, or there was going to be something else done with his character. Maybe, I don't know, maybe another character was going to become Gills. Like, maybe he was going to die, and then somebody else would become a Gills who just kind of has a similar vibe. And like it'd be a revolving door of people forced to burden the suffering that is the power of Agito, and they couldn't.
Yeah, because like they kind of tried to establish that with the randos in the apartment, where like they keep saying one of you is going to become like this guy, one of you is going to become like this guy, whether you want to or not. And I think that would have been an interesting concept, but
yeah, like there's
I guess it's fine.
The fucking, I forget his name because they were all kind of forgettable characters,
irrelevant.
There was the one who ended up surviving, the kind of dickhead one,
the one that lost his powers.
Oh, Majima.
That guy?
Yeah, the one who gave up his powers. Like, honestly, if Ryo died and he became the new Gills instead, I think that would have made more sense with just kind of how superfluous Ryo becomes later on, and how just kind of disconnected his plot lines become. Where,
yeah,
I think that would have made more sense if he would just ended up being a different character. So, if he entirely planned on just kind of replacing Gills, I don't know, but the show does kind of have those seeds planted of, yeah, maybe he wasn't supposed to be Gills or something like that. Maybe
he wasn't supposed to survive.
He wasn't supposed to be here the entire time.
I mean, who knows? Maybe that's why, as much as I hate to say it, but like maybe that's why he tried to kill him off so many times. He was like, maybe this time they'll let me keep him dead.
No,
maybe this time they'll keep. I cut his fucking head off. How is he gonna come back?
It's like what Gil said during the last few episodes. I can't die. I'm immortal.
At this point, he fucking might as well be. I mean, I don't
know.
The
The ratings won't let me die.
I don't know how many times literally, actually, God himself has to intervene and bring you back to life just to make your life more miserable.
It's like
before you realize that I can't.
Case. It's like, you know what? Okay, like you're gonna die, but every time you come back to life, your life is just gonna get like exponentially worse.
Pretty much.
So after Gills, before we get to the other side characters, let's talk about another Agito.
Kino.
One of the most superfluous things I've ever seen in the show.
One of the most unnecessarily convoluted both names and characters that has ever existed in this franchise.
It's convoluted now.
Well, it's a little convoluted. Well, it was convoluted already in the show
G4?
because he's just G4 doesn't count. He's not canon.
I know. I wanted to be a dick.
Sort of. I mean, the show says there's a G5, so I guess G4 is canon.
No, there's no G.
He's not.
Oh, no, wait, that's right. There's a G4. Well, no, G4X is the SIC line.
No.
G5 has been established at the end of the series, like with Obito apparently being like acting captain or something like that. But anyways,
with the mustache.
Yeah. Oh my god. That
Anyways.
awful mustache. Anyways. I'll say this: at least Kino was fucking established as a character before his reveal. He was very consistently mentioned throughout most of the show. I think they first mentioned him like 20 episodes before he showed up, where like he's established as being the leader of the Akatsuki gang, where he is the alpha of these Agitos to be. He is kind of the man in charge. He's the one who's running the show. He kind of knows the best way to deal with all of the supernatural bullshit. He's the one who tells them what to do, how to live their lives, and how to go about dealing with this kind of fucked up scenario. So before he even shows up, they have a very clear hierarchy established for this character. He has a very clear personality and role established. And when he shows up, he pretty much lives up to it, with his introduction being that he fucking barges into a hospital to perform a surgery by himself like a fucking sociopath. What a bizarre character Kino is.
It's weird because they introduced him so late in the game that the only thing you could see with this guy was you're either going to die as a villain or die as a really bad anti-hero. And it's like there's really no other place for your character to go because you're not giving me much. Especially when they try and give him 2 backstories of him being on the Akatsuki Go and having his brother die in the fucking Alps somewhere.
Yeah,
it's like
the shit with his dead brother and the haunted arm and all that is just
the haunted arm.
Fucking nonsense.
Kino and the Phantom Pain.
You know what? I'm just gonna go off my own headcanon. That was basically Ankh before Ankh gained a conscience. That's like half asleep Ankh.
No. What it was is that it wasn't his brother's arm. He just had a fake arm that had nanomachines in it that made him think it was his brother's arm. Bravo, Kojima.
Okay.
Bravo.
So you're going with that angle. My angle is they never actually planted his arm. It's just a really bad tattoo he's ashamed of.
No.
So he made up this entire backstory.
He has a very bad
brother
tattoo that is dug flesh out of his arm. Yes.
Exactly. Dude, look, I've seen some really bad body mods, bro.
Fair enough.
But again, it still doesn't work because full arm prosthesis, while it could happen, you have to repair nerves. You need to do that. You also need to be taking autoimmune things to basically make sure that the body doesn't kill the cells in it.
Okay, Phil.
But who changes Batman's tires?
Okay, Phil. God came down and made people mutants. Shut up.
This is literally a show about God himself trying.
You want to get more pissed off, Phil?
There's
No, Phil. You want to get more?
Side.
You want to get more pissed off? There's an entire episode where Kino does 2 surgeries at the same time. No matter what kind of doctor you are, they would never allow you to do that.
They wouldn't allow.
Well, he's not a doctor technically.
Also, when he
well, not anymore.
No. What pissed me off? Actually, no, it didn't piss me off. No. Okay. Get the fuck out of the OR. I will do this myself. Okay.
Phil, he's just that good.
He is not an anesthesiologist. You need an anesthesiologist to maintain the anesthetics. You need someone.
He's just that good, Phil.
He's not that good. Okay. You can be good at it, but you still need a team. What the fuck is this? Harold and fucking Kumar.
This is what happens when you have the kid of a fucking doctor on your podcast.
Yes,
this is
I forgot about that. I was wondering why Phil was being so autistic about it.
Yes,
this is also the show where we can clearly play tennis with a frying pan.
Yeah, but that's realistic.
That could happen.
Yeah, but actually, I'm not going to go into specifics here. TLDR, yeah, the physics for that don't work. It's actually kind of hard and unweighty, and also hard on the wrists. Actually, if anything, it kind of break your wrists. With the shot.
He is right.
Look.
Well, anyways, I digress.
Agito's
I'm not going to go into the science there.
Look, Agito's the one using it. He just has really good forearm strength.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's obvious.
Look, I am the child of physicians.
Phil,
okay?
shut up.
I am the child of fucking physicians, and when things medically don't make sense, even in fiction, I question it.
Hold on. I'm just gonna. Okay.
Had to have that sometimes.
Hold up. Where is he?
Anyways, the whole shit with his dead brother and him I don't even know why he cut his own arm off and replaced it with his brother's. They never established
I
why.
think it
No,
was
no,
like,
no,
it was
okay,
'cause
okay,
it was
okay.
like his own arm was like frostbitten. It was like, oh yeah, no, like
Did they?
yeah,
Because
like,
I mean,
his arm is basically
that
useless.
makes sense, sure, but
No,
I don't even
the
remember
thing
them
is, he wasn't the one.
establishing that.
No. He wasn't the one who made the choice. The doctors made the choice for him.
But what fucking doctor on the planet would do that? That is
The
insane.
doctors
You're
in Agito.
questioning me?
Listen, Phil, you're questioning the logistics behind the actual experiment. That's one thing, and I understand that. I'm questioning what sane doctor on the planet would willingly cut a dead man's arm off and put it on the body of a living man to replace his own
Have
arm.
you seen doctors? Have you seen that?
I have.
There are literally doctors who will cut people open to put other organs from other people's bodies in them. They're not that.
Was he an
crazy.
organ donor? Was he an organ donor?
I don't know.
I feel like we're thinking a bit too hard about this. Let's continue on.
No, apparently we have to spend 20 fucking minutes on the logistics of transplanting arms
Listen,
in a show where a fucking amnesiac chef kicks God in the face.
listen.
This is the biggest problem, apparently.
The shit about Kino's arm is not even the dumbest thing about him. So,
I know. That's the best part. That's the best part.
so, anyways, give me a second to catch my breath.
Look, okay.
Shit. So,
the thing with Kino that I said it already, but that I have to reiterate is the fact that no matter how you look at it, his character is 100% needless. Because I understand that they're and again, this goes back to what we were talking with Gills. I understand they're trying to show that yes, since people can become Agito, of course there's going to be a few running around. But again, we already had Gills doing that, and you introduced Kino so late in the game, trying to get us to give a shit about literally whatever. That's like, I'm sorry, but no, I don't care. I don't care about Kino. He's superfluous to me. If you wrote him out of the show, this show would have been 20 episodes shorter. Like, easily.
I think the thing is that, like, immediately there's no real direction for him, is that he wants to be the only Agito, so he turns on everybody else and starts trying to kill them. Why? For what reason does he have to do this? He has no motive to want to try and kill the other Agitos. He has no motive to start pretending like he's the one and true Agito to the police. For that matter, the police have Hikawa especially has no reason to immediately believe that he is the one true Agito. That's a thing that the show never really touches on, is that despite the fact that he has a very obviously different suit, everybody just kind of keeps thinking he's the real Agito, which is never elaborated on. I don't know if that was just like an artistic thing, or they just needed an excuse for a new suit, because it's like every other fucking Agito we end up seeing is just the base Agito suit. They don't get their own unique suit. So I don't know if that was just to sell toys thing, or it was just like, because otherwise we would have two Agitos on screen. So I mean, I understand in that regard, but like, it doesn't make any sense for Hikawa especially to think he looks the same person. So, again, the show never
especially when he's gotten his ass saved by him multiple times.
Yeah, and then like there's the whole arc about him pretending to be the one true Agito. It's like, oh, now he's begging the cops for stuff, and he's trying to tell him like, oh, you need to kill this guy, he's in danger. You need to do this, you need to do that, and like, this doesn't make. Why is he doing this now? Something's fishy about it. And then Hikawa's just kind of going along with it because of, I don't know, idol worship or something like that. It's weird.
Yeah, he's got like a hard-on for Agito.
I mean, sure, that makes sense too, but like, the fact that he never at any point questions what the fuck's going on with Kino up until everybody else around him starts doing it is just, it's kind of needless. Like the whole
it's
thing
weird
about...
to say, but they kind of dumbed down Hikawa for the sake of the plot point.
Yeah.
The whole evil writer thing is just kind of unnecessary in this show. I don't really know why they did it. I would have been fine if there was just another Agito running around for a little while. And then he dies or whatever. That'd be one thing. But Kino is just kind of this weird tumor on the plot for the last major arc. Because he doesn't really do anything significant, really. He just kind of chases around the other mutants for some time, and that's about it.
It's weird, because, like, again, I understand what he was trying to represent, but what he was trying to represent has already been done with Gills, and you could even argue that, okay, Gills and Agito are special exceptions that they get the full form. Everybody else that has the Agito seed in them is more just getting superpowers. It's like, that makes sense, doesn't it? That all these mutants would get different powers. Like, so I don't... Again, it just feels needless, and it sucks because I think Kino's actor did an okay job with what he did, better than he probably should have, honestly.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. He does well. It's just... The character
They give him nothing.
He doesn't really have any reason to be here, and he doesn't really have that good material to work with.
And it also sucks because I actually really do like his suit. I actually like his suit. It's pretty grotesque, and I'm kind of into it.
It's a more monstrous form of Agito, like a dark reflection of what could be.
Another Agito, perhaps.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I hope we see him soon.
I will say, speaking of his incredibly convoluted name, I loved in the Go Rider special when he comes back for that. He starts yelling at, I forget who he was yelling at. I think he was yelling at Emu. He's just like, "I'm another Agito." And he's just like, what the fuck? Like, Emu was just like, what the... He doesn't even react to that. He should have been like, what the fuck is an Agito? Who are you? What are you yelling at me?
I'm another one. It's like...
He's just like, there was a first one?
You're the sequel? We couldn't even get the real one? Shit!
Well, yeah,
Diet Agito?
Shasta Agito.
Do you not realize, kid, that all of us are dead? All of us riders
No,
are dead.
CJ, Gills would be Diet Agito. Another Agito would be like...
Shasta Agito.
Diet RC... like RC Cola. Like Diet RC Cola.
No, he'd be like...
he's Coke Zero.
Like Agito Max. He'd be like... weird subline sodas that nobody drinks, but they still exist.
You mean like Coca-Cola Starlight?
Yes.
I drank that once, and it almost gave me fucking diabetes.
Wait a minute. What's the difference? What, alkaline soda? That's a thing?
What?
Okay, Phil.
Okay, anyways. So, on from another Agito, let's talk about the G3 unit. Starting with our favorite midget, Ozawa.
You know what? Ozawa, is one of those characters nowadays whom you'd probably see everyone on Twitter saying, she deserves to be a female writer.
Oh my god, queen!
Okay.
Oh my god,
yes,
Slay
I was
Queen.
literally about to say that. People, you want your strong female characters in Rider? Watch this! Ozawa!
Ozawa's a really damn fine character.
Oh yeah,
She is.
agreed.
Oh yeah.
Look, Ozawa in this show is fantastic.
She is.
She is such a good character, and she doesn't even do, like, I shouldn't say a lot, but she doesn't do that much. But what she does do not only impacts the story, but it impacts the fucking characters, and that's great. Honestly, she's fucking great.
She's a very active figure in the plot, and her personality is very I would almost say atypical for this series, because she's a very abrasive person, a very negative person. She always has something bad to say about basically everybody except for Hikawa and most of the other heroes. She's always got something to bitch about. She's always got some kind of problem. She's always got a snide remark or a mean thing to say. And that's not like a negative thing about the character. It makes her stand out from everybody else. And I like that too, is that like she's just kind of this horrible person just in general. She's rude, abrasive, kind of a bitch, an alcoholic, and She's the most entertaining character on the show because of it.
The woman can down 5 giant jugs of giant frosted mugs of cold beer and still not get drunk.
She's a champ.
She's the type of person you'd want to go drinking with.
Yes.
She is just a fun. She is just a fun character all around, and everything about her just works. Like, it just works, and again, she doesn't do. She's not like the main focus, but what she does do, it helps out with the story, and it's great. I like it.
She has a lot of agency as a character. Her role is that she created the G3 unit, so she's kind of the one in charge of that. So her primary role is being the liaison between Hikawa and the rest of the police force. She's the one who's constantly having to drag themselves out of the fire that they end up getting dragged into because of bullshit politicking behind the scenes.
Mostly Hojou.
Mostly because of that dickhead Hojou. And because, again, she's got that very abrasive, unprofessional attitude that it leads to her just kind of a very ingenious way of solving problems.
Yeah.
She's the loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules. She's not actively in the field or anything like that. She's there at the desk, but she's the one who's like running around, like talking shit to superiors and saying fuck the rules, fuck protocol.
Yeah.
And so she's the one who takes the brunts for those problems, but that allows Hikawa to do what he needs to do as a good guy.
And the best part about that is the fact that she's abrasive, but they constantly bring it up. She's the smartest person in the room, so she knows what she's fucking doing.
Even one of her,
she's abrasive for a reason.
Even one of her own professors, actually, when they're trying to make they're trying to make Rider Defense V1 and G3X, she literally goes to her professor, a professor of hers in college, who's working on the V1, and he literally says, "You were one of my greatest students, but I always hated you because I always hated you for that." And even when he helps saying, like, after V1 basically gets like tanked, he says, "Look, I made you this. It's up to you whether it's gonna like help out a bit if you if you can put this, if you're willing to put it aside, put it in there, you'll do it. You have an amazing machine." And despite that, she does it. She puts it in knowing that Hikawa is the best person to do this. And to make it easier for him, she puts it in there. Which it's basically saying she has her abrasiveness, she has her rudeness, but she knows when she needs to do the right thing, and she knows when she needs to do something from other people's critiques.
Yes, that's like I said. Like she's still the smartest person. I mean, fuck's sake, they literally give her a number. She has an IQ of 180. So she's a smart little chick.
She has a lot
knows
of
what she's
agency,
doing.
Despite being a secondary character to the plot.
Yeah, I do. Honestly, she's great. Did we have the other guy?
Amuro.
I'm gonna be honest. He's kind of a dick.
He's a whiny little baby.
He's a little bitch.
He's a coward. He's a little bitch. Like, I noticed this again going through, and I was talking about it with you guys a little bit before we started, like a day or two ago. He starts off as being like the normal guy. He's supposed to be like the Scully of the group, where he doesn't really believe in any of the supernatural shit or any of the monsters. He's just kind of there because he needed something more glamorous than being a beater maid, basically, and
yeah.
He's just kind of goes along with whatever happens. He has no real loyalty to the team, so like he'll fucking side against the G3 unit if he needs to. He's kind of like a little backstabber. He's kind of just like he doesn't even really mesh with the team, but I don't know if it was just his natural like wimpiness shining through as an actor, or it was just in no way found him that boring. He just becomes like the fucking punching bag of the team. He's just there to be the bitch. He's basically there for everybody to make fun of and to be laughed at.
And again, it's like you said, there's multiple times where he just goes behind their back for no reason, really. And it's like, why? Aren't these people supposed to be like your partners, thick as thieves sort of thing, why are you just saying, hey, fuck you? That's, I don't know. There's just something off about the idea of him just being such a fucking wimp. And I hated him. He's such a stupid character.
Like, I think overall, when, like, looking at Omuro, like, basically, like, all the yakiniku or, like, the barbecued meat scenes, it's like, okay, no, I could see why he's just getting constantly shit on here. I feel bad, but it's also hilarious. But, like, it comes to a point, like, especially with the actual final, like, 2, 3 episodes, and, like, I feel like that, like, well, we would call that, like, a heel turn, right? I'm just trying to get my wrestling terminology down correctly, right?
Going full baddie.
Yeah, going on full baddie. Just like that one felt very forced, I think. And I think if anything, well, everything about that final arc was just kind of stupid, but that's neither here nor there. But
the fact that they let him wear the G3 suit's fucking pathetic.
Yeah, like I think had they done him like working alongside Hikawa as like regular G3 alongside G3X, you could have done something there. And let him see, it's like, oh yeah, no, this is like, yeah, this is kind of the world you're thrown into. You just kind of have to accept that none of this makes sense. Somehow, someone pissed off God enough to just get God killing humans. But I think overall with, like, Omuro, like, he's just such a non-character, I think. It's just like, why even have him in the first place?
Exactly. He serves no real role. He's just kind of there to fill out the cast, I guess, to have somebody for Ozawa and Hikawa to play off of, I would suppose. But I mean, that's what Hojou's there for most of the time, is to be the one for them to play off of and for things to happen regarding. He's there.
I mean, shit. He barely shows up after a certain point when Hojou's around.
Yeah.
It just feels off for him to be there, and I didn't like him. But let's talk about Hojou.
Speaking of Hojou, the biggest
what an asshole
on the planet.
What a fucking asshole.
Can I get... Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say... No, what I want to say was... No, you guys say it first. I'll say it later.
No, just say it, because I know what you're going to say.
No, I was going to say... I don't really think he's that bad of a guy. Granted, he's an asshole. He's a major asshole. He's a chauvinist. He's cocky. He thinks he's better than... Well, then again, that's cockiness. But...
He constantly manipulates people to do his bidding. He constantly manipulates his superiors to see the worst in people.
Yes, but in the end...
But
he... That's... even Kono. Kono says, that's just him. Deep down, he's a nice guy. I think what the problem is, he's also ambitious.
Sure about that? I don't know. I had 51 episodes to show you the exact fucking opposite.
Okay, here's the problem. He's too ambitious. That's the problem. And ambition can make you cocky and manipulative. I didn't think he was a bad guy. I think, honestly, that's just how he came off. And in the end, he still did do the right thing. He put his arrogance aside when the time needed to, and he would help when he had to.
Like
Phil really trying to advocate for the devil right now.
I'm not advocating for the devil. What I'm saying is he's not
he's more like advocating for like Beelzebub or something like that. He's not like the devil, but he's close.
Like I think like in terms of Hojou, like there are definitely times when it's like, okay, he's not an extremely bad character, but though, like, I'd say definitely near the end, he has a major character regression, which makes sense. And I think that's kind of my biggest problem, because, like, the character is like, okay, no, I really hate him, to the point of, like, okay, he's just kind of here to do what he has to do. To the point of, like, okay, like, whatever, and now it's just, how the hell did you fuck over your own logic?
It definitely felt at a certain point that Inoue saw Hojou and thought, I need to turn this guy around before it's too late, but didn't realize that by that point everybody fucking hated this guy already. It's like what they tried to do with Kaiksa and Faiz, only a bit worse because this guy isn't a writer unlike Kaiksa. Like, they tried to turn the ship around.
Well, he was for like one episode.
G3 doesn't count. They try to turn the ship around on him so late in the game that's like, oh yeah, you did something right, but that's because, again, it's the thing of, you did something right, but you're doing it right because you know if you don't do it, it's going to have major consequences beyond just your fucking job. That doesn't make you a good person. That just makes you not want to die. You know, it's self-preservation, not charity. And I don't see what Hojou does as a good thing. He's still just doing it to save his own ass at the end of the day.
Yeah, a majority of his actions are self-serving. Whether they end up having benefit to the whole is kind of secondary to his motives. Exactly. His entire motive for hating Hikawa, hating Ozawa, and hating G3, and constantly going out of his way to fuck with them, is because he's a bitter little bitch because he didn't get picked to be G3. Because he thinks that they're pulling politicking bullshit with Hikawa because he did something special. He was involved with the Akatsuki incident, so he thinks that it's bullshit politicking to give him a promotion or something. That he feels that he deserved being G3. And so his entire motive for fucking with them and trying to backstab them and setting up all this shit to try and take out Agito, despite the fact that he has no good reason to, is all just to spite Hikawa and Ozawa.
The one thing that he does that is objectively good in anyone's eyes is taking in his former mentor for murder. But even then, there's still a slight hint of, well, if I let this guy go free, that's going to look bad on me.
Well,
it's weird.
Yes and no, because I will agree with Phil in that there are definitely moments where he reaps what he sows, and he realizes the error of his ways, and he makes up for it. But at the same time, he also ends up regressing after those points. Like, again, there's the incident where he gets his old mentor to come in to audit the G3 unit, and who tries to fuck them over and tries to make them look like a bunch of idiots. And he knows that he's going to make them look like a bunch of idiots because that's going to get his way. But when he discovers that his mentor was doing so not out of a genuine plan to kind of reform the G3 unit, but rather to cover up his own misdeeds, not only does he immediately go back on anything he had said, but he actively works to resolve the situation. And he doesn't, like, gloat about it, or he doesn't, like, make a big deal about how he helped them. He's like, okay, I made a mistake here. I need to fix this. And I'm just going to kind of let this one slide. But at the same time, he never really, like, learns from those incidents. Like, there's his multiple plans of trying to capture Agito. And he never really has any good reason to want to capture Agito. Like, early on, it's like, oh, we're going to fucking brainwash Agito and make him a weapon. Because, evil, I guess. And he never really has any good reason for wanting to do that. Because, like, he has no reason to assume Agito is evil. He has no reason to assume that Agito is connected to the unknown for any real reason. I mean, much like with Kuuga and nobody really trusting Kuuga at all with the police and the Grongi, it's kind of understandable because you got a fucking superpowered mutant run around fighting other superpowered mutants. There's that kind of natural element of humanity is fearful of change and progress, which is kind of the overarching plot of the show too. But Hojou personally never has any good reason to want to capture Agito or kill Agito or take out Gills or do anything other than murder the unknown. So he'll repeatedly backstab people who are on the same side as him and who agree with his motives just for the sake of backstabbing him. And then when he learns that lesson, he'll forget about that lesson. And it's not even like a case where, okay, it's fine that he forgets this lesson because that's his own petty bullshit. Like, no, it's him learning you can't be a petty asshole about this, and then just forgetting about it.
And it's not, and like Jay said, it's not even like he's pushing it to the sideline. It's literally, it feels like it just didn't happen.
Like after around the midpoint of the show, when he finds out that Shoichi is Agito, and he realizes that, oh, Agito is just some fucking nitwit with superpowers. Okay, I've been wasting my time this whole time. And then for some fucking reason, 10 episodes later, he's like, okay, we're going to kill Agito again, and we're going to protect the fucking unknown, and we're going to let them murder Agitos. Because reasons. And there is never any good reason Hojou is given that he wants to do this. And there is no real reason why the police suddenly do a fucking 180, that they're going to just start allowing the unknown to run around and murder people. Because fucking Dr. Kemp shows up for some reason. I don't know who the hell he is in regards to this show. I don't know what his involvement with the police, because they never mention it. But he's just like, yeah, we're going to let the fucking muties hang. Which in any other circumstance I'd be fine with. Fuck the muties. But
it just felt weird.
It feels completely at odds with everything the show had established up to that point. And it feels very, very baffling the police under any circumstances would just let this happen. That even like unless this guy is like the fucking prime minister or something, there is no reason on earth the police would willingly allow these fucking superpowered monsters to run around murdering innocent people. Not even in the fucking X-Men would this shit happen. Would they let superpowered monsters run around killing people just because they're muties? Even then, even the mutie hate would be put aside because there are fucking serial killer monsters running around. That's a more pressing concern than some fucking kid who can fart fire. I don't care how voraciously you hate muties. I fucking hate muties. But even I am like, yeah, this is a situation where we're not gonna not kill them. We're just not gonna kill the muties right now. We're gonna keep them safe so we can do it later. We don't need to. It's fucking baffling.
God.
And the thing is, I can almost see what you're trying to go for, Phil. But like Jay said, he regresses and turns around and backstabs and almost inverts at some points so much that it's like, if that was the idea Inoue wanted to go to, it's like he didn't want it to. It's like he kept trying to not make it happen too early. And he kept doing it so many times that at a certain point it's like, well, I don't care if you do it now because this guy has regressed so many times that I think he's just going to fucking do it again. Oh, like he's just, at a certain point, he's probably going to just shoot Ozawa in the fucking head.
Like, especially in the finale when he decides to go against the police operators and he lets Hikawa steal G3 to go fight the final battle. And it's treated as like a big triumphant moment of him finally learning his lesson, but like, he had already learned this lesson 3 times by now. He already went through this character arc, and he immediately reverts again anyways in the fucking epilogue, so it wasn't even really worth the time to begin with.
Like, well, I think the thing here with, like, Tojo here is basically, well, like, I think he was getting better as he was, like, actively more investigating, like, the Akatsuki goal, and, like, everything regarding the Akatsuki and whatnot. However, yeah, like, this final arc, it's a giant regression, it's a giant, like, 180 to the point of, like, this makes literal no sense. And, like, to the point of where even at the end of the, like, at the literal final episode, when they talk about, it's like, oh yeah, like, we gotta kill the Agitos and protect the unknown. It's like, they even point us, like, what kind of idiot, like, we aren't that dumb to actually pass that kind of law to create a mass genocide.
You're basically so asking for the Holocaust.
Really, what was the
fuck, Hojou?
Yeah.
Again, I can see what you're going for, Phil, but in this show, it didn't work.
I will say that even though Hojou very rarely gets any comeuppance for his bullshit, when he does, it's very worth it. Like, there's the early one where he finally gets his wish and he finally gets to become G3. And he immediately wusses out and runs away during a fight because he couldn't shoot the monster once and win. So fuck it, I'm out of here. And immediately everybody in the police force calls him out on his bullshit. Or my personal favorite is when he's finally figured out Shoichi is Agito, and he's interrogating Agito, and he's trying to break Shoichi, and he's trying to like make him subservient, or I don't remember exactly what the fuck his plan. He was trying to do like some shit.
He was trying to get Shoichi to be like his pet, basically.
Yeah, and Ozawa shows up to basically break out Shoichi to go fight the monsters, and Hojou goes on this long-winded rant about like police protocol and Ozawa's morals and all this, and Ozawa's just like, I don't fucking have time for this, and just kicks him right in the dick and runs off. Legit.
She literally does.
Right in the nads. And I love it too, where he's just like, he's like, my balls still hurt like 4 episodes later. I love it. He's still mad about it. He literally just went there to gloat.
What the hell was he doing in
And
London?
they kind of set up like a weird thing of like he maybe has like a crush on Ozawa, like he kind of has a thing for her, and that's why he's just
after you get kicked in the balls so many times.
Tsundere, yeah, like I don't know.
It's not like I made this V1 to because I like you or anything. But,
yeah, it's not like I cannibalized a bunch of metal heroes for this dumb power.
Dude, that was so fucking funny to see that suit. That suit was pathetic.
And it just got
V1 man. What the fuck was he?
Who else do we need to talk about? Because really the other ones are superfluous.
Well, there's the family.
Mana?
The last name I forget. But most of them are basically. Well, there's the kid who doesn't matter at all. There's Mana, who.
This is before she had the best ass in Japan and before she became Shelley Duvall.
Yes.
But she's
Shelley Duvall
have the
right
best
now.
ass in Japan.
Well, okay.
She
Here's
has.
the thing: the best ass in Japan that's a title that
But
belongs.
number
wait,
one
but
in
Chad,
Japan.
So let's not
Chad,
question it, okay?
Oh no!
Hey, they don't need to know where I am. All they need to know is that I hold
Reigning
the title.
champ, baby. Anyways, but yeah, like
Reigning
the
champ
only-
in exile.
the only one who really matters of the family. I mean, no, I shouldn't say the only one. The father or the uncle matters a little bit as well. But Mana's the one too.
He doesn't end up mattering until the last like 10 episodes when he's suddenly incredibly relevant to the plot. Which, granted, they had already established up to that point is that he had been doing research into like supernatural shit, and he already had some connection to that. And of course, his brother, Mana's dad, was kind of involved with that too. But like, then they start immediately tying him in with Shoichi's sister and the other Shoichi and all the other shit that's going on, and it feels a little like Inoue needed a way to resolve this plot, and basically everybody who could is either dead or has no reason to tell Shoichi. Still, he's fine. They're all fine as characters. What's his name? The little boy. He was kind of annoying, but he never really did anything, so he's kind of forgettable. Yeah. The uncle's fun as like a goofy character, but when he starts he's a good actor. He's good when he's serious, and he's good when he's goofy. But once his character started becoming more serious and involved with the plot, it started to lose me. But again, that's just more because it ended up being a little contrived.
Like I think there's definitely clearly foreshadowing with him, especially with the coffee mug near the beginning. But then just like I think it's played off way too late with, I guess, literally little build up by that point, which makes it does definitely feel a lot more contrived to the point of where it's like they should have just either forgotten that plot point or played it somehow differently.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, where I think because the amnesia plot took so long to resolve, they couldn't also resolve that plot until it was, so I do remember there being a little more foreshadowing early on, but then it just kind of disappears for a while. So it ends up feeling a little more contrived near the end of the show because we already forgot about all the foreshadowing. It was all way earlier. What is there to say about Mana? I mean, she's a major character, but like can't.
It's weird. She's not okay. As a character, there's nothing. As a plot point, she's important. She is a plot point. She's not a character. It's weird to say it like that, but like when you really look at her, her character is just whiny teenage girl. But she is honestly one of the most important things in the plot. And I say thing because it's like an item in a fucking video game. They just pop her out whenever they need her. Like, it's weird. It's weird. And the thing is, like, her actress is fine. The performance is whatever. She can get kind of annoying, but she's not a character. She's just a plot point. At least that's how she comes off on the screen.
For the most part, I would agree. I like her as kind of a foil to Shoichi's goofiness, where she's a little more serious. She's the one who's kind of trying to goad Shoichi into actually solving the mystery of his life, and she ends up having to solve the mystery for him, and I liked that angle. And her being a psychic as well is played pretty well, and that leads to her naturally getting involved in the Akatsuki plot and kind of uncovering stuff. And I like that she kind of develops a friendship with Hikawa too. I like her character, I like her involvements with the plots and everything, but I couldn't describe her character.
She's not very
She's a teenage girl. That's how I like to say it.
No, question. Did it kind of feel like they were she was trying to get like a relationship going with Shoichi?
It feels like it, but at the same time, I would say it's more she has grown fond of him as a brother or just like a family member.
Okay.
I could say this if they had done something like that with when they brought them back for Zio. I could see that because they're a lot older now. But again, it's still
it's the
like sibling.
I wouldn't necessarily say sibling. I think she sees Shoichi more as like a father figure, where her uncle doesn't really fit the role of the father that she's looking for, and she sees more of her dead dad in Shoichi, so she kind of naturally implants onto him. That's the way I kind of interpret it, because you look at the flashbacks with her dad, and her dad kind of acts a lot like Shoichi does.
Or I mean, shit, the whole thing with the hand,
okay.
like her measuring her hand with his and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Jay, what you're saying is Jay,
It's
fatherless behavior.
Yes.
I don't know, because just like I see where y'all are coming with that. It's just like, I don't know, I got mixed versions of both. It's just
I
like,
definitely think there is
okay.
a
like,
bit of a spark between the two, where I don't think Inoue intended for them to be like a romantic thing. I think he did intend it to be more of like a familial or like a
it just kind of comes off that way with
it, basically. Yeah, but I think
But then again, we're talking about.
Then again, she is a teenage girl, so I think it might also be a little bit of that, where there is the mysterious older man in her life where she kind of wants that. But again, I think that kind of falls into the father figure role, where is it meant to be like a romantic interest, or is it like a familial fatherly love?
I chalk it up to how the actors played it
I think it's ambiguous enough
see
where you would have a decent argument for one way or the other, but I don't think that was the intent, considering how Inoue usually writes his romances. He goes full on with the soap opera shit, so...
Yeah,
That's also very true.
It is ambiguous, because remember the episode when, I forget what her name was, Maya or something? The girl who pretended to be Shoichi's girlfriend, when Mana at one point makes like an entire bento for Shoichi, and she starts getting jealous of this woman and basically throwing away the food. That could be seen in a way as a lover basically being upset with their partner, or trying to find a father.
That's why Jay said
that's actually a good example of what I mean, is that it's ambiguous. Where
that's why Jay said you could take it either way.
The way it's acted and the way that specific arc is written is Mana upset that this woman who is allegedly Shoichi's girlfriend is coming in and stealing away Shoichi because she loves him, she wanted to be with him? Or is she upset because she's losing the father figure that she can no longer find to fill her emotional void with. It's played ambiguously enough where it could be one way or the other, and I do think that was good.
I kind of go towards more the familial thing, because even the uncle kind of says once Soichi came in, she really started to she basically began to speak more, to come out more, because she said when she first came in she was so reserved with all of them, but once Soichi came in she started to like come out of her bubble a little bit more. So I can see a bit more as the familial thing in that sense, because like, you know, when you're around your you know, somebody you see as like a father figure and everything, you want to impress them and all that. So I can kind of see it that way. But again, like you said, really you can make an argument for either or.
Yeah. Personally, I don't believe it was meant to be romantic. I don't see it as that, but it's done in a way where you could argue that, and it does have a reasonable way to argue it.
I'm team father figure.
Yeah.
I am team. This still felt really weird, and just like I definitely see both, and just like I couldn't help but notice like the romantic undertones, which I'm pretty sure it wasn't supposed to be, but it's like,
well, even if
like,
it was meant to be like
off.
a romantic
like
thing, I guess you could just kind of chalk that up to like a cultural thing. Because how old is Mana said to be again? She's like,
oh dude, she's like 15, 16.
Yeah, and then Shoichi's like
21,
15,
early
16.
20s. So
he's the canonical
21,
age is 21.
yeah. So it's not like she's like 12 and he's in his 30s or anything like that. I mean, it's still a very questionable age difference. But if you look at it like if you consider what ages people are considered adults in Japan and everything like that, it's a little less weird, but it's still weird because of she's definitely more still a kid in the show. She's still kind of going through that.
Naturally, of course.
It's a 4 to 5 year age difference, but if they did go with the romantic subplot, I could see it in Zio when they're a little bit older and they're more like, you know, like they're more.
I'll put it like this:
they're more
if it
mature.
Of course,
meant to be romantic, I think it would have been a little more, not necessarily obvious, but I think it would have a little bit more one-sided, where it would have been more overt that was what she wanted, but I think it would have also been more obvious that Shoichi's not interested in that, and that she's kind of trying in vain. So, but again,
it would have had to have been.
I think
because it would have looked weird.
Inoue does that whole plot line with the characters in a way where you could argue any specific angle, and I think it would work.
So we talked a lot about that. So let's touch on our two villains. That's the last. That's all we got left here.
First of all, we've got our guy Gowser back. Man,
honestly, I didn't recognize him at first.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed going back to Agito after watching Shanzarian, where I went into Shanzarian and he shows up. I'm like, oh shit, it's the guy from Agito. And then now I'm watching Agito.
Oh shit, it's the guy from Shanzarian.
It's like, oh shit, it's Gowser. It was a nice little moment there where like it's a nice little it's poetry. It rhymes, you know.
Son of a bitch! I was about to say that.
So
if we can make Mono work, if we can make Taichi work,
because he's a funnier character than we've had before. So the short version is that he is the real Shoichi. He spends most of the show under the alias Tetsuya Sawaki, which is of course Shoichi's real name, because I'll say I think they kind of revealed that one a little too early, because he's writing out Shoichi's name on the entry ticket at the hospital, and then he throws it away and writes the other name. It's like, okay, so obviously he's the real Shoichi. I think that one was revealed a little too early on. But I think it's interesting again going from Shanzarian again, where he's a very different character. He's more reserved. He's more of a spirit. His whole thing is that he kind of ends up being the sidekick to the real Big Dad, and he's kind of like an intermediary between him and the other Agitos in humanity, where his whole involvement with the plot is that he was in love with Shoichi's sister, who turned out to be an Agito, and that kind of fucked him up for life. And that led to him kind of developing a grudge for the Agitos, and that led to him teaming up with the real big bad. But then he kind of starts to learn the error of his ways, and he starts to betray the villain, and he starts to try and protect the Agitos. And I like that, and I like that he starts to learn that humanity is fucked, but humanity is not, completely fucked. They still have a chance. And I like that. I like that arc with him. But he's more of a passive character. He's just kind of there in the background, kind of pushing stuff along and directing other characters. He himself doesn't do a whole lot in the show, but I think that's fine. I think that works for the character as he's written.
I mean, you've pretty much said it yourself. I like it. He's cool. He's fine, and I do like the idea behind him. I don't know. At a certain point, I kind of just found him boring. He's not supposed to be this exciting villain, but I feel like there was still just a little bit more.
He's
He's
not even really like a villain necessarily.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's more or less like he's just. I think he's just basically the basic definition of a side character. Literally, just someone on the side, just either there to either explain the plot or either pretty much
he's an observer in the literal sense of the word.
I think.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's weird because again, he and the idea with him and Soichi's sister. There we go. Had a bit of the J's there. I like that idea, and I do like that he has almost this weird sort of just. Like, I shouldn't say weird sort of, just this pure guilt over it. And I like that idea. Again, I don't know, I feel like they didn't do enough with it, though. I feel like there could have been a bit more there, but I don't know, I think that's just me.
I think he's used enough as a character, but I can kind of understand where you mean, where if he was more actively engaged, I think it would have been more interesting for him. But at the same time, that wasn't really the character that he's set up as.
Yeah, exactly.
He's there to be an observer to the events going on. He's there to be taught a lesson by the villains, by the unknown and their master. And he doesn't really have any reason to engage, but his own morals force him to end up engaging as penance for his own inaction earlier, and the stuff that happened with his girlfriend, Shoichi's sister, and all that.
He should have just turned into Gowser halfway through, honestly.
Listen, but that would have made sense.
Shanzarian didn't make any sense to begin with. I'd be fine with him just showing
Jay.
up there.
Because you're a bitch.
I didn't even fully
Jay.
finish Shanzarian.
Shanzarian was.
Hey yo, Jay. So Jay, we're used to how
I've
he
seen
looks
Fever
like in those two
Dreams.
shows, right? Have you seen what he looks like now?
Oh yeah, no, he did not age great.
He lost his luscious locks.
Oh
He looks like
He looks like the old perverts in bathhouses.
I didn't want to go that route.
You know what? That's just what 21 years are gonna do to you.
He looks like a background character in like a period drama, where he's just like an unassuming peasant character with that haircut.
He's that guy who just goes "Nani?"
Yeah.
Little did you know that random side character.
It was
actually
Gowser.
Messenger.
Honestly, dude, that was probably the best part about him, is that he was Gowser. Because I remember when you got fucked up by a bunch of fifth graders.
Oh yeah. What a way to go out.
So now we have to talk about.
I still wish I'd finished
Jesus.
God himself.
Jesus.
There's two overlords. There's Overlord
Well, I
of
can explain
Darkness
that.
and Overlord
Okay,
of
so
Light.
I like how you so matter of fact you say it.
Our actual villain is. Well, they never identify anybody by name in the show, much like with Kuuga, where all of the monsters have names, but they never say any.
They don't.
So our villains are the Lords.
He's right.
The Unknown, as they're called, and their leader is some douchebag in a turtleneck.
Steve
who
Jobs.
we know as the Overlord, or the Overlord of Darkness, as he is called. or as they very briefly show for like 10 seconds in one episode, I think his name's like Theos or something like that. Because there's that part where they read the letter and it kind of explains the backstory, and it's mostly readable English. Mostly. It uses a very weird font, but you can kind of make it out. I think one of the art books had a translation for all of that, and with the weird painting in the opening too. Well, we've already said it like a billion times. Yeah, he's God. He's literally actual capital G God. That's the show doesn't make the show is not ambiguous.
I mean, look
at all.
Look, if you needed shut up, Phil. If you needed a legit like in your face if you needed something in your face to tell you that he is God and these are his angels, the fucking lords literally do like a sign of the cross every time they're about to kill somebody. I mean, it's not the literal sign of the cross, but it's a fucking
summon
cross.
Their powers from Halos, yeah.
Yeah, and Halos. Fuck's sake, just because he's a petty asshole, he started forming a cross with stars. Because he's just that extra, I guess.
He is right. Is it all supposed to be ironic that that his gender is actually
I don't know.
ambiguous?
Look,
I feel like that was probably
the
done
whole
on
thing is
purpose.
kind of weird
because
the way they establish it is he's just really mad that humanity is evolving, I guess you would say. But and this is my big brain, this is my big theology brain here. We've kind of been doing that for billions of years. Where the fuck were you when we came out of the goddamn ocean?
Well, the show kind of very briefly touches upon it in the weird segment where he's having a duel with himself in another different colored turtleneck, who shows up on the boat to give Shoichi and the gang superpowers. So this is kind of like the deep lore of Agito that is only really touched upon in like that one tiny little letter I mentioned, and in like the art books. Okay,
if you want to know about Agito, pause now.
So the quick TLDR of it is that this guy named Promes, who is the Overlord of Light, the one in the white turtleneck, was one of the L's, which is like the highest ranking of the lords. So there's the Overlord, and then there are the L's, who are the his.
The
That's a lot of L's to take.
So literally, so Promes, the Overlord of Light, was the L of Fire.
Just kidding. Anyways.
And he betrayed the Overlord because he wanted to give humanity power. They were divided. The Overlord wanted humanity to stay as they were as he created them. We're going to ignore the existence of evolution here. We're going to assume that this is going by Bible rules, that humanity was created as is. That the Overlord feared humanity gaining power, specifically developing superpowers, supernatural abilities, becoming like the Lords, becoming like them, ascending from their status as humanity as he molded them. That he was afraid of that.
Where the falling angel meets the rising ape.
Basically. That he was afraid of humanity evolving to become like the angels, like him. That he wanted them to stay as is, and that he felt that their own power would corrupt and destroy his creation. And that was his whole motive for seeking out and trying to stamp out the Agitos, is that he wanted humanity to stay the way they were so that he was their only protector, that he wanted his creation to stay pure and perfect and untainted, and he wanted to just exterminate any imperfections. And so Promes, the Overlord of Light, he was like, that's kind of fucked up, bro. We should let humanity guide their own course. And that's when he ended up betraying the Overlord. And you see in the weird flashback where they're fighting, and you see all the meteors crashing down. So that was him. I don't remember exactly the situation behind it. It's something like he sacrificed his form or something, or he gave up his power or something like that. Basically, he spread his power throughout humanity. He gave the gift of fire to humanity, as in, the tale of Prometheus. Hence his name, Prometheus. that he was the kind of the seed of the Agito, literally and metaphorically, because he wanted humanity to evolve on their own and grow beyond their original programming, essentially. So the Overlord's whole motive throughout the show and sending out the Lords to murder humanity, specifically murdering Agitos, is that he wanted humanity to stay as they were when he created them, and he feared any deviation, any evolution to his creation. And it's a good example of, just because you have good... He's a villain, but he's not evil. He has a good motive. He's trying to keep humanity safe from their own power, from their own potential devastation, that the corrupting influences of power on agents that have free will. But that also means that he's still an asshole, because he's still murdering people, and he's not giving them, his creations, the chance to grow on their own. And it's very interesting, because the show kind of explains this, but does it in a very ambiguous way. The show is very interesting in that a lot of this is never really discussed in the show, but you can kind of piece this together from the way he reacts and the stuff he says. And then he gets a little questionable during the final arc when he just says, "Fuck it, rocks fall, everyone dies." And he starts literally rearranging the stars in the galaxy and beyond to fucking force people to kill themselves. Which,
why is it that what no why is it that final bosses in Inoue, like final villains in Inoue shows, always want to just go for the fuck it, rocks fall, everyone dies? Why does he always do this?
Probably.
I know, but it's just so funny. It's just like, it's so fucking like extra. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. You're just gonna keep coming out. I'm gonna just blow up the earth. You guys suck.
At least
But
in
it actually
Agito,
is
there is
kind
a
of
good
interesting.
justification.
God's pissed.
But besides God is pissed, as is usual. I mean, name one story in the Bible that didn't start and end with God is pissed. Both.
All the
Testament or New
Testaments.
Testament.
He's very Old Testament
But
God
anyways.
in that case, where he's nurturing of humanity, but if he's crossed, if his creations betray him, he has no forgiveness. He is just gonna fucking stamp you out, just fucking thunderbolt to the face. You're dead. So I think by that point in the show, when he just says "fuck it, I'm gonna kill you all," I think by that point there were so many Agitos running around, and specifically it was because Shoichi himself had become so powerful he was able to actually hurt him, where he's just like, "Oh shit, this has gotten too out of hand. I just need to stamp this all out, start over from the beginning."
Well, he technically also had help from Hikawa on that point, because Hikawa was shooting
Well,
his giant
sure, but
friggin'
like,
Gatling
okay,
gun
but remember,
at the shield.
but think of it this way, yeah.
The idea that's
Oh,
like,
sorry.
it's the idea of basically, okay, this guy isn't even an Agito. He hasn't even been touched by God, and basically, okay, he's kind of holding me off. Just think about what these Agitos can do now. I think it's just time for me to.
I was gonna
it's time
use
to
the
end this
I was gonna use
story.
the
But it's
example
not-
of,
but it wasn't-
and I know Phil wouldn't get this example, but it's like Hikawa is like Hercule punching Cell. It's not gonna hurt him, but then Cell gets fucking shocked when Gohan kicks him in one fucking punch, and he's fucking dead. And yes, I know I said kick and punch in that sentence. Fuck off, Jay.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't even notice until you pointed it out.
But again, it's that thing where it's like, oh shit, I was so sure that none of you would ever be on my level, and now that you're on my level, I fuck it, just die. Fuck it, I'm not even gonna try, and I'm not even gonna try and win fair.
But it's only one.
That's
Agito,
enough to
but
kill
it's
ya.
one Agito
Exactly,
that was
Phil.
able to do that.
Just
think-
one out of the thousands of potential millions of Agitos has reached the point of being equal to God himself. That is unacceptable. That is the line that is drawn. It is time to end this hardcore style. That is
Yes.
entirely what happens.
Though the whole story, like the whole logic behind the Overlord and the L's and everything, It's like you said. It honestly
And
is
yes,
very
that's the
Promethean
point.
in a way.
That's kind of what I had said is that he has a reasonable and an understandable motive, and it's ultimately kind of a noble motive. Is that he's trying to save humanity from their own vices and their own mistakes, but that still makes him a villain in our eyes because he's trying to exterminate humanity and keep us from evolving in a natural style and growing on our own. He doesn't want us to have our own agency, which is noble from his perspective, but is villainous from our perspective, and that's what makes him a really fascinating villain.
So if we're going if we're looking at it at a biblical point of view, you could see it as the Overlord is essentially a god without Lucifer tempting Adam and Eve, or if you're looking at, or you can look at it as Promes.
I mean, if you want to be,
I
was going to say, if you want to be technical, the Overlord of Fire or the Overlord of Light was still Lucifer at the end of the day. In some way, you could see him as Lucifer.
Thematically, at least, in that he is the morning star, he's the bringer of light. That is his role.
Yes,
and that he is the one who tempted humanity with power. And
he literally gives them the forbidden fruit in a sense.
Literally, in that sense, yes.
Pretty much. That and it looked like the Overlord didn't actually want to kill him, which was kind of like in Paradise Lost, Lucifer being the one loved above all others until Jesus and humanity came along, and then he got picked.
The Tokusatsu Podcastu, the best theological podcast you've never heard of.
And that, again, that also makes sense where the Overlord of Light is the only one who has a human form, unlike the other lords and the Owls, who all have monster forms.
It's so weird how you can that one fucking scene, Jay. That one fucking scene takes a character that, while definitely interesting, wasn't anything crazy. That one letter just opened the fucking floodgates.
Oh yeah.
That one fucking frame that is barely in frame. It's like, oh wow. All this makes sense. It's like Inoue did this to fuck with us in some way. It's like I want you to pay attention to this. I like it, but I like it, and it's cool. It's honestly one of the most interesting motivations for a villain I've seen in one of these shows.
Yeah, it's very atypical from Rider both past and future. There really isn't any other villain that, like the Overlord, that has a similar motive. All of them have all had their own... They've all been evil, in a sense. I think, like, in terms of, like, motives of being villainous or not, I think, like, Kazami is probably the second closest in the sense of he's not really evil per se, but his overall scheme and his overall goals are villainous in nature. Where he has a noble motive, but his actions are villainous. But I think the Overlord kind of, for lack of a better word, ascends beyond that, where he is so disgusted with having to harm humanity that even though, again, that's where they're doing the little cross thing, the lords do that before they kill. It's like, it's them, like, begging for forgiveness to having to kill humanity. It's them, like, a sign of penance, kind of. And it's very fascinating that there's this thought and effort put into the monsters and their hierarchy and their lore and their motives that the show never touches upon because, I mean, it's really not necessary to, but it's fascinating that it's there, and you can kind of glean a lot of it just kind of from the little snippets that you get. It's very good writing.
Remember the episode, like, this was early on, when, like, the Overlord, like, there's a scientist that found this device that was found on a beach that held, I'm gonna say, the DNA of the Overlord, and she's followed around by the Overlord, but then gets killed by one of the Tiger Lords, and even though he did the movement of asking for forgiveness, the Overlord still killed it and forced it to commit suicide. Because it was mad that it was pissed off that that it killed humans.
It's so
when asking for forgiveness.
It's so weird. It's so weird to see it because, again, it's like you said, she wasn't an Agito. So the overlords, even though they were killing relatively innocent people, they still had a moral code. I just fucking love it. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things about Inoue, where he doesn't have to spell it out for you. It's right there. Watch the show, Twitter. It's right there. If you just watch it, it's plainly spelled out for you, and I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
Seriously, guys, you want more story driven, more mature Rider series? Go back to the past. Go back to the pre-Deno days.
It doesn't have my flashy TV. It doesn't have my flashy TV Nippon subs.
Okay,
oh my gosh.
you know what? You want to know what was great about the older series? They took more risks. The camera angles were different. Hell, I'm watching Blade, and hell, even in Agito and Blade and fucking Ryuki, you have fight scenes that take place in the middle of a city, in the middle of a crowded fucking restaurant. In other places, you don't have that anymore. You don't get that anymore.
Okay. So, first off, I'll tell you this, though. No, I didn't even finish Agito. I stopped watching after episode 2, and I just went to the weekend. It was so boring. And oh my gosh, the storytelling was so stupid, and all this theological bullshit was so stupid and slow, and oh my gosh. You know what? I didn't even
I
finish
only
the
watched
series.
the
I don't
Zio
even know why I'm
episode.
here.
This
I only watched the Geo episode
This,
to
but
get the
unironically.
synopsis.
I was waiting for
God.
the episode where Ryuki came
I have to
in.
But anyways,
I need more time to watch.
Ren is my
happy
favorite.
1-year anniversary to Toma running up the rainbow staircase.
yeah. Yep, at the time of this recording, it is the anniversary episode. The episode anniversary of.
If you
cutting
compare
off
Ren and
Rainbow
Agito, they're the
But,
same
like,
character. Go for it, Chad. Go for it.
Yeah, totally.
But anyways, though, but like with Agito, for example, I think definitely it is a product of its time, and definitely this is still after the era of basically breaking down the stereotype of Kamen Rider being a simple children's show, as according to whatchamacallit's his name, Odagiri Joe. And I think also, like, especially nowadays, like, there definitely was more of a emphasis and focus on the storytelling rather than having to sell the toys and everything else and all the other spin-offs and callbacks that we have to do nowadays in recent Rider, which is definitely more noticeable considering, like you said, the filming locales. Also, the fact that there's more people, but then again, this is also 2001, when there's no
COVID wasn't even a thing.
But, like, basically...
That we know of.
Yeah, like, literally, it wasn't even a thing. Yeah. But, like, basically, yeah, no, like, as you could clearly see, it's day and night from, like, recent Rider series as of, like, early Heisei. In which, of course, everyone should go watch those seasons, whether they like it or not. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there.
No.
Is anyone actually going to listen to this? Who knows? But we'll see.
It relied less on the gimmick and selling a new
So
power-up,
before
and
we
it
get
focused
to the
on
final
story.
thoughts, just a couple of things real quick. Just to touch up, two things. One, the music of the show is fucking fantastic, and I'm not even just talking about the insert themes. The orchestral score that they used in this show is fucking gorgeous. It is amazing. And I don't know whose dick they sucked to allow them to get a full-on orchestra for this, but do it again, because it was fucking great. And of course, the insert themes are fucking amazing. Tell me one person alive that doesn't like Believe Yourself, and they will very quickly not be alive anymore. That song is perfect.
Every insert song in the show is great. Even the fucking motorcycle got an insert
Machine
song.
Tornado.
Machine Tornado got a fucking insert song. And
Dude, the fucking bike got an insert. When was the last time a bike got anything?
Fucking Rider 71, I think, was the last time they did a song about the bike.
Well, it's funny because if you look up because I have the albums. If you look up the insert themes that weren't used in the show, there's insert themes for the Overlords, there's insert themes for G3, for Gills, for all the fucking Agito forms. It's insane. It's insane, and it's great. And of course that goes to the opening theme, the original version, which is just fucking It is sex. It is sex.
Sexo.
I actually like the sec. I actually do kind of like the.
That sucks,
more
bro. It's
I
all
think
fucking
Phil is the
techno
only
gay.
person who has ever said that.
It was okay.
No,
Ready
it's
to go.
okay. You don't need to change your mind just for us.
I like some of the orchestration that goes into it. It makes it more triumphant. But I will say the more mellow first version is still high up there.
So Phil's wrong. Anyways, but yeah,
was waiting
it's
for
you knew it, you know it. But yes, all the music in the show is great. Most of the fight scenes are fucking fantastic. I mean, they were really going crazy with some of those. I mean, shit.
Oh, yeah.
There was a fight scene on top of a moving fucking car. How do you? I don't care that car was only going 3 miles an hour. That is still a moving vehicle, and they're fighting on top of it. That's awesome. And then they crashed, and they fucking threw the suit actors off a fucking moving vehicle onto other cars. I don't care. That was awesome. That's fucking great.
Yeah, I think the show benefited from being early enough in the Heisei Era where they were able to experiment with the fight choreography a lot. Like, yeah.
And they didn't really have to use CG, honestly.
No, they barely used CG.
Do you remember the CG they used when Mana got that fucking bumper off a car? Oh, dude, that was so bad.
That was. Toei, you could have done that.
I mean, they
with
did do several
practical
effects like that with practical effects. I don't know why they did that one specifically, CG.
The practical effects guy was on vacation.
They wanted to flex their chops. No, they just want to flex their chops because they're like, oh yeah, we're Japan.
We
can
have
also
CG
flex the fact that
abilities
we have
now.
CG too.
Kneel before us.
But not at the higher budgets.
You know what? No. They just didn't awaken their abilities just yet. It's like Agito, you know. It's like they're basically
Which is
their
weirder
CG budget
because
is complete for
the
now.
show that comes right after this, Ryuki, has way better CG. like
It's also 'cause there's 10 times more
exponentially
CG.
better.
See,
Like
It just awakened.
exponentially
Give it a
better
year.
CG than Agito. And it's only a year that passed, so that's pretty impressive.
Well, I think it's because also they were using like living
And not
creatures
these little
in
bumpers.
CG.
Well, I think
to
that's
try to bring those to
always been
life.
the case with Rider, is that we
Yeah.
either have good CG or good fight choreography, and we never get one in the same show.
Yeah, you're right about that. Where's your excuse for double then?
Very true.
Double
Look.
has shitty CG. What are you talking about?
It does. But
Yeah.
the fight choreography ain't that great either, let's be honest.
I mean, it's
It's
fine.
basic.
It's
It's
not terrible.
basic. It's basic bitch hours.
Basic.
And I say that as somebody who likes double. So I think with that being said, I think it's that time of the night, guys, for our final thoughts. And let me throw it. It's been a while. Yes. I'm gonna give it to Chad first.
Okie doke. So, overall, Agito, this is my first time actually completely watching it. Actually watching and trying to pay attention. I did do it one time before, and admittedly, it was kind of boring. But I mean, then again, like, with a second viewing and also a better understanding of things, I have a better newfound appreciation for it, and I think it's really sad that Agito kind of gets the short end of the stick because you have Kuuga, which everyone likes because it was, well, first a Heisei, and then Ryuki, which is overshadowed by the fact that, well, it's also Dragon Knight. Like, Agito is one of those seasons that doesn't get super talked about. Well, it's more talked about admittedly than Hibiki.
I'm pretty sure my
But it's
fucking
still
toenail
pretty-
clippings are talking more about
You and
talked about
Hibiki.
Hibiki more. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, but it's honestly, like, it's kind of a shame that no one really talks about Agito as a whole, and just, like, I wouldn't say it's the best season, but it is definitely a great season. And so, and, like, if you have the patience and time, because, like, I've known, and I've heard a lot of people say, it's like, oh yeah, the only thing I couldn't get behind was, like, the pacing, and just, like, it's really slow, in which it is, but at the same time, it's like, like, if you give it that patience, like, you'll get into it. Like, there's a good mystery aspect. The characters are likable. You get to laugh at Ryo Ashihara's new, I guess, whatever the hell he's got going on that week, whether or not he's dead or just getting hit by everything, drowning. I don't know, but you know what? Just, it was good. It was fun. I want to find the Agito CSM again and see if I can pick that up. Just, again, support it so that way we can also get Big Yart's Renewal G3. That doesn't exist yet, by the way. But, yeah, no, like, by all means, do give Agito a watch, and, like, I feel like when Agito eventually finds its way onto Tokusatsu, I think. Because, let's be real, it's only a matter of time. Like, I think that's when a lot of people will start to talk about this show more, and also eventually enjoy it.
Okay. Next! Phil!
Honestly, this is my second time watching Agito. I think the first time I watched it, we were covering Blade
Ironic.
at the time,
Yeah.
but giving it a second, ironic considering I'm also watching Blade right now, and but anyway, and I'm watching Agito for this while I'm also watching Blade, but. Giving it the second watch actually really, it pointed out a lot of the faults that I had missed on the first watching, but the faults don't actually detriment it. It really makes it actually a really good series. It's got a great mystery that goes off throughout the entire season. It's got likable characters and those that you know are not the best. They're despicable, but again, that's up to interpretation. I know who you're talking about. The suits are fan-frickin-tastic. The music is great. And it leaves you thinking. And one of the biggest things I love is when a Rider series, or even a show in general, has its own mythology. Whether it be overarching into other spin-offs or just its own. I love that everything has set rules, has set laws, and essentially it has its own mythos. It has its own stories that they follow and are part of the plot. That's what I find interesting about the whole lords and the elves. I find that mythology fascinating. But overall, I love it. I want more people to watch it. I am hoping one day that I can get G3X's giant friggin' Gatling gun one day because I want that weapon. Oh, it's a good show. It's a good show. Watch it.
It's a good show.
Jay.
I have said before that I very much enjoy Agito, and going through it again, I would still say I enjoy it a whole lot. I used to always say that Agito was, on an objective level, the best of the Heisei Era, and looking back, now that the Heisei Era is over, I would still probably say that. And maybe it's not as good as I remember it. There are definitely more flaws that I do remember now. But I would be hard-pressed to say that I would rank it above Kuuga solely for the reason that the show feels like a more natural progression of the writer formula from where it left off in the Showa era. Where you look at the original show, and it's a very, very violent but rather crude show, where it's very much just standard Monster of the Week fare. The characters are not necessarily two-dimensional, but there's no real progression to the characters. Most of the plots are Monster of the Week stuff. There's no real overarching plots. There's no overarching drama. Their angst is there as basically a way to push the Monster of the Week stuff. There's no real personal stakes beyond, we gotta stop the bad guys. And then you kind of look at how the Showa era evolves up into Black, to a lesser extent RX, where it's still very much the same. The action and the violence have become a little more refined. It's a lot less gratuitous, a lot less horror movies slasher movie vibe, but it's still violent, it's still shocking. But the drama has evolved to a more overarching plot. The involvement has become more personal, where you look at Kotaro, and while his general personal involvement is Golgam fucked up my life, but it's also Golgam ruined my family and they've kidnapped my brother, and this is how this personally relates to me. And you look at how that evolves to where the Heisei Era is, where the shows have become more about the actual plots. It's more about the drama. The characters have more personal stakes in what's going on. It's less about the villain of the week and the monster of the week stuff, but the overall formula is there. But Kuuga, for better and for worse, deviates too much from that where Black left off, where it goes into a completely different direction, a great direction, but it kind of regresses a little bit with the violence, where it becomes a little bit more visceral and a little bit more slashery with the violence. And the characters don't have a whole lot of personal stake in the plot, other than the monsters are doing stuff and we gotta stop them or they're gonna kill people. And especially with Godai, who doesn't really have any involvement with what's going on with the Grongi beyond, I'm Kuuga, I have to. He has no real stakes other than, I gotta stop the monsters. So while it's a good evolution of the concept, it doesn't properly continue on where From Rider had left off, and it doesn't really build upon where Rider had been left off with Black. Whereas Agito, I think, builds upon the foundations of the franchise better and feels like a more natural progression of the formula. And if you notice where Rider goes from here with Ryuki and Faiz, they start to build more upon Agito and how Agito did it rather than how Kuuga did it. So I would personally rank Agito higher than Kuuga solely for that factor. Is it a better show? That's splitting hairs. They're both good at things that the other show fails at. I would say they're about equal level, but I would say Agito is better solely for that factor alone.
So you're saying it's Agito's fault we have Ghost?
Yes.
All right, then it's the worst show on fucking television.
That's Bird Up, though.
Worst show on television. Anyways, I had to. I wouldn't say it's better than Kuuga, but that's me, obviously. I would say it's definitely on the same rank. I would definitely say it's on the same level. Because, for me at least, Kuuga and Agito have always been... Kuuga was, we're just going to make a good show and we don't really care about what Rider is. And Agito was, no, let's actually make a good Rider show. If that makes sense to anybody listening. But that's how I usually rank them. But Agito, yes, it's a fantastic fucking show. Yeah, there's stuff in there that come over from Kuuga that people don't like, which is the slow pacing. I would argue that the slow pacing actually helps with the show, because if the show was going at, say, X8's pace, this show would be fucking terrible. But at the pace that the show goes, which comes over from Kuuga as well, I like it. I like the evolution of the lore, like Phil said. I like the fight scenes. I like the music. I like the little piecemeal mystery that it gives you. I like how it just goes. And like Jay said, from here we would get stuff. We would see. This is basically. This is why I said Kuuga is just a good show. It's not a Rider show, because this is where the Heisei formula, for better or for worse, depending on who you are, began. This is where it started. This is the quintessential Heisei Rider. In everything, in everything, you know, with the gimmicks, with the multiple riders, with the drama, all of it. It is the quintessential Heisei Rider. And it does it honestly, and I hate to say it like this because it always makes it sound like, ooh, just because it's first doesn't mean it's the best. Well, as the first real Heisei Rider, I would say it's the best. I would say it is the reason why we have all the shows that come after it. We would not have the formula that would make Double or Gaim or Ryuki or Faiz or any of those other shows if it wasn't for Agito. And for that fact alone, it's right there with Kuuga. It's right next to Kuuga, if anything. If Kuuga is an S+, this is an S. This is S rank. Right fucking there. Tippy fucking top. And I honestly have gotten I've gotten a way more bigger appreciation for it as the years have gone by. And goddamn, is it fucking fantastic. If you haven't seen this show, fuck Revice. Watch this show. And I haven't even caught up with Revice, so I don't know what I'm saying. But fuck Revice. Watch this show right now. Because this show is fucking fantastic. Just shut up and go watch it. If you already heard our review, we've already splurged about it. Phil has already gotten mad about being a doctor about it. We're here. Go watch it. Like, now. But with that being said, guys, you know what time it is. You know what time it is, don't you? It's time for the wheel.
It's Morphin time.
It's time for the
Dragon
wheel.
Sword!
All right.
Oh, no wheel.
Fuck, no, Chad. No, don't say it.
I'm gonna try using.
Don't say it, Chad. Don't say
Chad,
it.
don't you dare!
Come on, Morbius. Let's go, Morbius.
What? Come on, you guys know every time.
You know what,
I said
Chad?
something
You know what?
Decent has
Say
come
it.
out. Nothing unbearable. Bring it on. Let's go. Give us the wheel.
Oh my God, it's
Show us
Time
what we
Ranger.
won or lost.
Hell yeah.
I'll take full responsibility.
Morbius is not on the
Bill, why
wheel.
the
If it's
fuck would
Morbius, I'm
Morbius
ripping
be
my hair
on the
out.
list?
Know what? Someone.
I know
someone
our
put
fans.
Naruto
Oh my
on
God,
the
it's
list. At
Naruto.
this
I
point.
know.
Oh my
our
god, I
fans. They're
finally have use
crazy.
for this gun. Implying I'm allowed to buy guns.
Oh my god, it's One Piece!
You know what? Maybe this is the time where the wheel humbles me. Or maybe
Chad,
this
please
is the
don't say
time where
that.
we actually
Please
all
don't say
collectively
that.
win. Who knows?
Don't say that because
Chad, please don't.
if you ask, oh fuck me, dude. Okay.
Just let's just spin and claim our bounty, and hopefully we don't fucking
Let's just see where it goes.
make our beds and lie in it, or whatever the fuck the saying is now.
Fuck my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm spinning it.
Okay.
You're. I
You
don't
know
know.
what the sad thing is? Couple of years ago, yesterday, I graduated.
You mean 10 years
college.
ago, you 30-year-old man?
No, try
Jesus.
6 years ago.
Where does the time go, huh?
Mm-hmm. I've been out of college.
Look
for
where
6
you
years
are now. I don't know. That was not meant to be a slight,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah,
I
that's a real
know.
pot calling the kettle
I
black.
know.
over
Just
there.
no, like look at where you're at now. You're reviewing a Japanese
Wow,
children's
nothing
TV
has
show
changed.
at in the
What?
middle of the night.
Well,
While working as a
I'd
bag
say,
boy.
as a whole, I think it's been a net positive in general. I'd say it's as a whole.
That is true.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I don't know. I feel as a whole, being on this show has been a net positive at some.
No,
in
in
some
that regard, yeah. I mean, I thought you just meant like life in general. I'm like, yeah, I can't fucking agree
Oh,
with
most
that.
definitely.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be worse.
We could be Anthony Birch.
A lot of
Why would I wanna be
fascinating
Anthony
things have
Birch?
happened.
Nobody wants to be Anthony Birch. That's why it's good that we're not him. No, you don't
Isn't-
want to be
Can I
him.
beat him? I'm kidding.
No, we like you for you, Chad. I don't want to. Okay?
Good.
I don't
We
even know
like
who that
you for
is,
you.
so
Hey,
I don't
Chad.
know who that is. Yeah.
You know what? I was gonna say, let me give you a fucking respin, but we already used ours. Thanks, Jay.
Fuck you.
We already used ours, Jay.
Listen, it
Oh,
was worth
no.
it for Sansaria,
What is
okay?
it?
Are you
Alright?
sure? Are you
Yes.
sure this is gonna be worth it
Oh,
for
no,
what I'm
this
about
is-
to fucking
This is
post?
bad.
It
This
can't
is
be
bad.
Ghost again. It's not going to be
This is
Ghost.
bad. Ghost
I
isn't
don't
on
think it's
there.
Ghost. What should be
It's statistically
Ultraman
impossible
because you were
for it to
dreading
be
that.
better
Ghost
not be
3
Saber.
times in a fucking row.
Could you
It
fucking
better-
imagine?
It better
Why
not
would it
be
be
Saber.
Saber?
We just did
We already
Saber.
did Saber.
I know somebody would put that.
Rabbit
on
has
there.
better
I
things
think.
to do, I think.
Oh
Maybe.
no, my finger
Anyways.
slipped.
Anyways,
Oh no, my finger slipped, and now
What do we
the
got?
wheel is spinning all on its own. I can't believe this is happening.
And
Oh
that's gonna land
my
in the
god!
same
No,
fucking
fuck you!
thing.
No.
Listen,
Okay, if AJ's. Oh no! If AJ's respinning it, it meant.
what I just landed on was fucking bad.
Listen, he's gonna tell us what the thing that he respun was after we're recording, and I'm gonna be fucking mad because every single time he does it, it's something that I know is good.
Do you want to see what I had to No.
Yes, fucking
No.
post both of
This
them.
isn't what I landed on.
Sure.
Oh, fuck me, dude. Jay, why do you have to bring up statistics?
Because I hate everything, and I
If it's
need
what I
some
think-
kind of joy to make others suffer like me. You're absurdist.
View of that.
Yes.
Your mom.
Do you even know what absurdism is?
Oh no, my finger slipped again.
Oh, for fuck's sake, AJ.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to do that? You want to do that?
Do what? You didn't fucking tell us.
You sure? You sure?
We don't know what we don't know our choices. What's our multiple
You know what?
choice question?
You know
You're
what?
not giving
No,
us
no, no.
an
You know what?
opportunity.
Let me play a little game with you guys then. All right? I'm gonna give you the last letter of every single fucking choice that I landed on, and you choose. And whatever you choose, that's your fucking fault.
Wait, the last letter? What the fuck?
Yeah, the last letter. Because if I give you the first letter, it would be too easy. We got
What kind of
A,
fucking-
we got I, and we got T. Which one?
What are you, fucking Mr. Mixie Pit? Like, what the
Yes,
fuck is with
yes,
this?
I am. A, I, or T. Choose.
Okay, definitely don't choose T. Do not choose T.
I'm gonna
So
say
A or
I.
I.
Can I buy a
Or
vowel?
you?
We
No,
already have vowels.
no, you can't. No. All right.
Can we buy a
I'll
consonant?
go with
All
I.
for A. Say I. All for A. Say A. All for I. Say I.
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 Okay, that's fine by me. Well, Chad.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
why didn't you vote?
Screw us over.
I asked you to vote, jackass.
Because I know I'm gonna get outvoted.
Ugh.
Yelling.
Well, I guess I.
All right,
Well, you know what? It's
God
fun.
damn it,
It's finally here. Fucking time for some good old-fashioned Hibiki.
Yay.
This is your fault. This is your fault.
Chad's happy.
We're about to do Hibiki. It was either Kiva or Ghost.
What were
Choose
the
your
other
poison.
ones?
I guess I forgot to take it off.
When I literally said there's no fucking way it could have been
That's
Ghost,
why I
and
said don't
somehow
bring
it
up
goes
statistics.
God damn! That's it. I'm packing my bags.
Your dumbass can't even get a plane to LA. How are you gonna get here?
again. Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned that yet, have we?
We did or wait? We didn't?
No, we haven't mentioned that on the show yet.
Oh yeah.
Because we haven't had an episode since we decided we were gonna do it.
I'll put this at the beginning. Hey everybody, we're going to Anime Expo July 1st to the 4th. Go over there and kick Jay in the balls. Bye.
Wait, what?
Wait, I just.
Oh,
I
we
just
did
revised
the
my
announcement
headset
that
for a
Anime
minute. What
Expo
happened?
is a thing.
Oh yeah. Go there. I heard there's.
Yeah,
gonna be
well,
some
we're
really
gonna
cool
be
things
there,
happening
and,
about us appearing.
I
It's
heard
gonna be
Jay's
fun.
gonna be there.
Yeah, Jay's gonna
Well,
be there.
That asshole.
He's a little bitch and doesn't go.
But
Well,
work
Phil
won't
could-
let him.
You can meet so many cool people in LA, like Chad or
And
Yeah,
other
Kamen Rider, or
and other
Macaulay
Toku
Culkin.
tubers are
or
available.
Hololive. I don't know. Or other like Hololive.
I'd be
people.
totally
I
into
don't
that.
know.
Anyways,
Of
course you
they're actually gonna beat it.
so cut it here, and now we are doing Hibiki. God fucking damn it! This is gonna be what?
Yes.
The
This is-
lesser of evils.
Look, it's not even that. It was
He said
Kiva or
and
Ghost.
What was the other
Ghost
choice?
somehow ended up back on the fucking list.
It was
Yeah,
Kiva
that's why
or
I didn't
Ghost.
choose T.
I was
so-
kind of hoping Kiva because that's fucking short. Is it? Oh, no, is it? I don't even remember. It's like 40
They're about the
something.
same length.
No, it's not.
Oh,
'Cause Hibiki's
let me-
like
let me
50
double-check for you.
episodes.
So we're in agreement just
Ha!
to only the first 30
Ha!
episodes, right?
No, Chad. No. No. Kamen Rider Hibiki is 48.
So let's see. Kamen Rider Hibiki. Yeah,
Kiva's like
that's
50 something
48, and then
probably.
Kiva.
Oh, it's also 48. The exact
let me
same.
double
So
check
Jay was
for you.
right.
So
Well,
yeah, it's basically the same.
I guess we're doing Hibiki, everybody.
Yay.
We're doing Hibiki.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be as bad as everyone says? Is it gonna be as good as nobody says? Who knows?
Probably.
I know Chad's been looking forward to this for a long time. He's been licking his chops to get his lips on Hibiki.
Well, I guess Chad's statistical probability won again because he at least won this time. So, there's that.
So to be fair though, the only reason that he technically won is because you just so happened to choose the letter I. If any of you chose, if you all chose A, we would be fucked right now.
Well, if you weren't just a big fucking pansy and just picked what we got,
Which was Kiva.
then fine, we do Kiva.
Why would you want to do Kiva? Why would you
Because
want to do
Kiva's
Kiva?
fucking
I would have done
hilarious.
Kiva again.
You know what?
Kiva's...
We can't have too much.
Which is
what-
why we're
we
doing
can't have
Hibiki
too much
does
in
it.
one
He's
go.
halfway to Hibiki.
Oh god, damn it! No, at least it's a show
Look,
with
look.
half of Inoue, not
Look.
all of Inoue. Put
Look.
it that way.
If you want, we could just say fuck it and do both.
Nah.
Or we could pull something from the Nether and
There
watch
are
an
no
Ultraman
more
series.
Ultramans. I'm not fucking spinning this again. I'm not spinning the wheel again. Because the last time I span it, I got like fucking Battle Lady Cop or something.
The movie's fun.
When are we gonna get Kate?
Kate,
When
I
are we
don't
gonna
know.
get K-Tizer?
Yeah, I know which one you're
It's
talking
the
about.
phone one, the one with the phone.
You
I
mean
was about to say,
K-Tie
the K-Tizer
Investigator
is
7?
also
Yeah.
it's a transformation item.
That's a
Well,
pretty
we
short
we
one.
would
isn't
have
it?
done
K-Tie
that a while
Investigator
ago
7.
if AJ didn't fucking cowered out of it and respin because he didn't know what
That
it
was
was.
77 episodes. Fuck face. I'm not doing that.
Well, you know what? If you didn't fucking
You
wait
know,
until the
you
day
know,
before
maybe I
we're
should
gonna
spin
record
the
to
wheel
watch
next
the entire
time.
show, it wouldn't be a fucking problem. Now, what did
It's
AJ
not
say?
my fault. It's not my
It's
fault.
not, it's not my fault. I just did
Chad, don't-
other things
Chad, don't
instead
you
of
love it when
watching
they
the
argue?
show. Ugh.
Look.
You don't
Look.
even have a job,
Look.
AJ.
Chad,
I have a
don't-
job,
Chad,
and
don't
I
you love it
manage
when
to
they
do that
argue?
shit.
I have a job too, jackass. But you don't count.
I have a job as well. Hey, whoa! I
You
work
work
longer
6
hours
hours.
than you do,
And yet
I
you're
put
still
up
being a
lot more
bitch
there.
and kowtowing to corporate
I work
bullshit,
8
not just
hours.
taking a vacation.
I have my reasons. I have. Oh my god! I'm gonna have to explain this in private. Oh
You know
my
what,
God,
Phil?
this is
You want
not
to
what-
do
no.
K-Tie? You want to do K-Tie Investigator? You want to do that? You wanna? You want to do that? You want to do that? Do you want to do that?
It's
No, do
already
you want to do it?
It's already
You wanna do
on
that?
Hibiki, so we're gonna do
'Cause
do
we can do it.
Hibiki
We can do it.
next time maybe.
All right, we'll do Hibiki
Chad
and then we'll
wants
do
to do
K-Tie.
Hibiki. We're gonna do Hibiki.
All right. So
Okay.
finally, after that hour and a half of fucking incoherent yelling, because Jay
What is that?
dumb.
What is that? Not every episode. Though.
To be fair, yes. We're doing Hibiki. You know what? I have high hopes. I haven't seen Hibiki in a while. I have
I
high
have
hopes.
actually never seen Hibiki, so this is gonna be a first for me.
Look, I remember
Me neither.
before it fucked up, before the dark times, it was pretty enjoyable. And Chad, I think he watched that more recently than I did.
Yeah, like I watched it, I want to say a few years ago, and like there was a time in college, and honestly, like I really enjoyed the
I
storytelling.
think the last
of
time
the
I
first
saw it was
30
before
episodes.
new subs came out for it, so this is going to be good for me. So yeah, so now next time we're going to be doing Hibiki. It shouldn't take nearly as long to get out as Agito, because I'm going to just plow through that fucking show, bro. I'm going to plow through it. I'm going to try and beat Jay this time. I'll do it. I'll watch it right fucking now.
All
I'll watch it as we record. So yeah. Next time we're doing the Hibiki. Hibaki.
Hibachi.
Hibachi.
Okay,
Anyways, so with that being said, I'm
I was
AJ.
gonna say that one.
That's Jay.
Good night.
That's Chad.
I'm actually Tomo.
That's-
So back to
How
tax
do
evasion.
I say it? Lip? Is that how you say Phil backwards? Lip? Lip? Lip?
Yeah.
No.
Lip?
Yeah. Leap.
All right.
The L of the Toku podcast.
Damn! Okay! Okay!
I don't know how we got to this timeline, but
How is it?
the L of this timeline.
So that means I'm
Man,
a
how
god
is- how is
essentially. I'm a
Phil the one who
disciple.
ascended?
Okay.
Yeah, and we're all doomed. And we're all doomed.
Now I'm going to go ascend to the heavenly bed and wake up and cause chaos up amongst the universe and the earth. Under my master, the great overlord of darkness.
I guess Phil will have no return into a Satanist. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.